How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the show, Thursday night show. We have Randy Emberlin here joining us tonight. How you doing, Randy?
Look, here's the introduction. It's like I'm the one on the left in this picture. You know, I'm not that old yet, okay? But this is the last time I get to talk with Stan. I don't know, 4 years ago, something like that. So anyway, I'm here to do battle.
And then, you know, bad news is Larry came along. So Larry Stroman is here tonight. He's here just to crash the party because Randy crashed his.
Right. Like they say in Mystery Man, the red eyes, they go, I love crashing parties.
Can you all hear me any better?
Yes.
That sounds good.
Okay.
You're muted, Jeff.
Jeff can't talk.
You can curse all you want. There you go. Whenever I play one of those introductions, it seems to mute his phone. He's got to go out and come back in for some sort of reason. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. It should be fun. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Annika. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna do some live claims, and we're gonna have some fun. My daughter's bringing me cupcakes. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, man. Yeah, so we should have a good time. So Randy, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Absolutely. It was fun being on the show last time, and so I thought, hey, this will be even more fun if I get to draw something. I also have a few prints that I can share just for, you know, to liven things up if we need to.
Ken, can you hear me now?
Yeah, no cussing.
I'm gonna start taking this personally. Every week, you mute me when this thing starts. Every week.
Yeah.
So Randy, were you inking the Carnage character when he first came around?
Yeah, actually, we worked on creating him. I mean, I don't take credit. I mean, even though I was part of the process. You know, Michelini, let's give him credit, he's the writer. And then Bagley with designs, but I had input because we had a lot of phone calls and probably the one thing, it's funny, Bagley doesn't remember a lot of things, but it's like when we were talking about him, that movie, The Terminator 2 was out. So one of the main influences or kind of an inspiration was that, was it T-1000? The Terminator had the liquid, you know, he's got the claws and you know, spikes and you know, changes body form and morph and all that. So that was a big, you know, it was the same year. So, I mean, it's just things. And, you know, even Danny Fingeroth was like, oh, like if you notice in this is the rejected cover to 361. But if you notice, Carnage is, the dark is in the middle coming out. And that was the initial concept, but Danny didn't like that because he thought it looked like an exit wound. So it was kind of like, okay, you know, maybe we could change that a little bit. So it became more freeform after that. But this is the 361's rejected cover.
So if they already had the Venom character, then why did they need that character?
You know, it was it was all that symbiote stuff, and what could we do to, you know, further that Venom mythos. I didn't even understand the symbiote planet thing back then, really. And and you know, it was like, how can we do somebody that's even worse? I always see the Carnage as kind of like, he's like the Joker on steroids, you know.
Right.
And if you look at what's his name, Cletus Cassidy, some of those early sketches by Eric Larson, he does look like the Joker. I mean, he really does. You know, it's like this. I've got one on the back of a comic book. In fact, you know what? I might be able to show that to you. That's going to be worse than it's on the back of an actual original page. So it's kind of cool if I can get through here.
Well, while Randy's doing that.
There we go. Looks like Ryan is first at bat here with a black cat for Randy.
Okay, black cat head sketch. I was going to show this real quick, Oh, you guys got me in closer. This is good. I got a full screen. So this is from Amazing Spider-Man 343 with Eric. It's a page that I've got. I still have a bunch of pages. But on the back, I flipped it over, and oh my, look at this. It is one of the early drawings of Cletus Cassidy, because this is before his first appearance. If you look at the number of the issue, this is 343. It didn't happen for another issue or so. So the ideas were already flowing on that. You know, it's like, okay. So it even goes back to Eric Larson. I mean, you know, it's not just, it doesn't go back up. So
I remember back in
this page is going to be worth something, folks.
Yeah, Randy, I'll take that off your hands if you want.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I remember back in the day when I used to buy a lot of really cheap, like John Buscema pages. The best stuff was always the drawings that he had on the back.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you know what? I found a bunch more. I've actually found a ton of other ones like that.
Yeah, I had a page from Will Sportaccio, and on the back was a super detailed drawing of what would be probably one of his characters from Wetworks when he left X, because it was an Uncanny X-Men page, but it was right before he left to go to Image and do that. So it was really cool to see that he was already thinking about that and that thing before it even happened. So yeah, definitely the cool stuff can be on the back.
It is. I mean, and, I've got, in fact, sitting over there on the pile, there's Eric Larson did a Hulk, a really cool Hulk with the giant fists, and there's a Doctor Strange. It's like, wow, this is great. It's like, so I'm glad I saved those, and maybe that's why I did, because a lot of stuff I didn't save, and like all of us, we're just kind of kicking ourselves, going, wow, why didn't I save like those original pages from? I mean, it's a flagship book, right? Amazing Spider-Man is not Spectacular or Web. It's the book that we read when we were, 62 or 63.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I just started a whole gallery today in Comic Art Fans that's called Regrets. It's all called Regrets. I've put about 6 or 7 pieces. So if anybody gets on Comic Art Fans and just looks at the stuff that's been put on today, you'll see a bunch of incredible pieces and be like, oh my God, Jeff has this stuff. And then, no, I don't anymore. No, it's all gone.
Stuff that used to, coulda, shoulda.
Well, like I said, the thing with my stuff is I don't even know who has it. I sold it so long ago, or I parted with it so long ago, that I would just like to know who still has it, or so I could get a better scan, or just talk to them, figure out how they got it, whether it was from me or from somebody else, But I have never seen any of the pieces that I posted today in the wild.
Well, I know there's a lot of people who they sell and they resell and they resell and they resell.
Oh yeah.
And I was always curious who are the people who actually buy stuff to keep it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I sold what was it? I think I've got one right here. This is a recreation, but this issue was like 347 or something.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's one of the first covers I ever got. And I was so excited. It's like, oh, I'm going to sell this down at San Diego. And I think I sold it for $750. It sold for $1,500 immediately, right away. It's doubled. And then it sold for $5,000 a couple of years later. And now it could probably, I would bet it's pushing 6 figures. Because
easy. It's actually probably like 200.
Really?
I would say 200.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
I think that might be one of the first times that Venom had a tongue. Like Eric Larson, because McFarlane never gave him a tongue. It was Larson that gave him a tongue, and that might be the first time you ever saw that.
That is right. I forgot about that. It's funny because I looked on one of those Comic Art Fan. It was some auction. It's one of those auction things that I get. I can't remember what it is, but they had a Bagley cover. I think it was his second Spider-Man cover, and then there was an Eric Larson splash page. I can't remember if I inked it or not. I mean, I don't think so. It had Magneto on it. That one went for almost $50,000, and the Bagley cover, which was a cover, only went for 32. And I'm like, okay, well, it just depends on who's buying it, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it works sometimes.
I was in some exhibit that was in this little small museum, and they had 2 exhibits that month, a couple of months, and one of them was this private collection of some people who had this couple that would just kind of go around and buy stuff, at different shows and things. And they'd been doing that for pretty much forever. And so I go inside this show, The first thing that caught my attention was they had bought one of the original Crazy Cat comic strips. And I've almost never seen that stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
And then they had like Flash Gordon. They had Prince Valiant original.
Wow.
They had like this double splash demon Jack Kirby thing. And I was thinking those are the type of people that eventually collect the stuff. But those are the ones who buy it for like dirt cheap when they go to visit people at shows and stuff.
Right.
A lot of the but the thing is, you know, and it's changed the attitude towards how artists deal with people in the business because so many people buy stuff to resell it. You know, like somebody come up and they'll say, "Hey, can you do a quick sketch on this backboard for my kid?"
Yeah, right.
And you're like, "Okay, cool." And then you go and you do the quick sketch, and then later on that night, it's on eBay for like $1,000.
I know, or whatever. Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's the way it is.
And the thing is, we want to be nice to people. We want to give people stuff for free and all that kind of stuff. But then when that thing happens, then we start thinking different about what we do.
I know. You know, I didn't charge for autographs for most of my career. I'd say out of my 25 years at Marvel and doing shows for 30 or more now, it's like I only started charging in the last, I don't know, 6 years, 5 years.
Right.
And it was because of peer pressure. It was like all these guys, you know, my friends, they're all going, "They're charging $5, you have to charge $5." Like, blah, blah, blah. Right. It's like, okay, fine. So now
I think it was the first time I did one of those, what do they call it when they do the little drawing on the book that they stick in that?
Oh yeah. A remark.
Yeah, so I did my very first one, but the guy who was sitting next to me at my table, he was a guy who owned a comic store.
Oh, okay.
So he just sat there quiet, and I did this little drawing, and the guy just thanked you, and he walked away. And he says, "Larry, don't do that anymore." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because he's going to take that, he's going to bring that over to his table. He's going to sell it for 3 or 4 times the amount of what he bought the book for, you know?"
Exactly.
And I said, but we don't think that far ahead. We only think of it as we're just drawing pictures, you know?
I know. Well, I mean, I do that now almost as a business, though. It's like if people go, you know, if they want me to sign books or they want remarks, there's a price for everything, right? So it's I'll do it and I'll just figure, hey, it's on a comic book. If it increases the value and you can get something, that's great. You know, it's like, as long as I get something for it, you know, I figured. Right. But
well, I remember you telling me at a show that one of the reasons why also you started charging is because you said so many people come up to you to have you sign books that you don't have much time to do any drawings at the show.
And that's correct. I mean, if you are, if you're signing all day for free, you have no time to do sketches for people, and they don't like that, and I don't like that, and plus you're getting paid to do those. So, you know, it's true. And people have to realize your time is valuable. And you're only.
And the thing is, it unfortunately it seems like no matter what, you have to make certain types of decisions, which usually result in people saying you're some kind of jerk or something. Oh, I went to have him sign this 50 books, and he said he would only sign one. What kind of guy is that?
Hey, you know, I actually fixed that at this last show. They gave me a lot at lunch. It was just a store appearance. But they said, we want everybody to get something signed. And there were hundreds of people. So it was like 10 items maximum. And I thought, I could handle that. You know, a lot of people bring those pops and they bring hats and books and whatever. And so I just said, you know, I had raised my prices during COVID. And so I said, if you bring 10 items, I'll give you a 50% discount. And I do that anyway with like comics if somebody brings me a bunch. But I just don't want people bringing more than 10, you know. Otherwise, you're there.
Yeah, me and Ken was just having this conversation yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, about you know.
Sorry, my fingers slipped.
That's how you make a break in conversation, Ken.
And you can. You have the power.
Exactly. So that's the. Oh, there we go. Looks like Stephen, Mr. Curtis has got it. So what would you like? What would you like Larry to draw for you? That's what we want to know. But no, I think that with the autographs, I think a lot of that also started with, artists were able to, to draw stuff to make money at cons, but writers, they can't write something and get paid for it at a con. So it's like, I think the writers might have even been the first ones to charge for autographs. I mean, if not simultaneously, but then they couldn't afford to go to shows unless they were being paid to go to the show. Because what was the point if nobody charged for autographs and all they were going to be asked to do is autograph all day, and then they do all these autographs, and then when CGC came around, people were witnessing the autographs, and somebody's making money off these autographs. So I'm here for 8 hours a day for 3 or 4 or 5 days if it's San Diego, doing all these autographs for what? Just so I can have a 4-day quote unquote vacation in San Diego where I spend 8 hours a day sitting at a table.
Yeah, it got old. I did that.
Well, the thing is, a lot of those guys' attitude is, since they bought the book, we should give them the free signature.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's that. You should just be happy that I want your signature, people.
Baseball players don't say that.
Hey, Larry. Stephen wants to get a Kraven the Hunter from you, if that's all right.
All right.
We'll stick with the Spider-Man theme for the evening, I guess.
Okay, why
not? But there are people like that who, you sign 10 books for them. They're like, well, I only brought 15. Why can't you just do the other 5? And then you do 15, and then somebody else is like, well, I only brought 20, and I only brought 30. And then it's just, you have to draw the line somewhere, and people just need to appreciate that.
Well, what we were talking about was, I said, you have somebody who would come to a show with like 10 people. And if you say you only sign so many books, they'll have each one of those people come up to your table with like 5 to 10 books.
Right.
Right. Well, at least at this particular store signing, people were really courteous, and they got back at the end of the line with 10 more items if they wanted to do 10 more comics. And they just waited, and some guys were there all day, and they went through the line like 3 times or something, So that works. It worked for me.
Well, I'll tell you one of my favorite stories, what happened to me. This is back in the 90s. I had a friend who lived in, where was it? And I can't remember. Where did she live? She lived down in Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee. So she went around to a number of places and checked them out, comic stores. So she was going to try to have it set up so that when I came down for that weekend, that I could hit a number of stores, because I had already had a couple of stores set up.
Right.
So we went to one of the stores, and I walked in the store and I looked around. I saw a bunch of my books up on the shelves and all that kind of stuff. So I asked the guy who was working there if I could come and do a signing at his store for my mind's trying to do 2 things right now, and I'm not doing very well.
You're multitasking. Don't let the women beat us out.
I'm not good at multitasking. So I said to him, I said it'd be cool, to come and do a signing down at the store since I'm here for the weekend. So the guy says, okay. He says, I'll talk to the owner. So then I came back the next day, and he says to me, well, the owner says, now that you're publishing your own book, he doesn't want to support a Black-owned company. So he's not going to have you come and sign at a store. And I looked around the store and I'm like, but he has my books all over the store. And he says, yeah, but he said he's not going to support a Black-owned company. So I said, all right. So I left.
Oh.
So the very next day, I'm doing a signing at the other store. And this was back in the early 90s. So there was lines going outside all the way down around the block.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there and the whole store is crowded. The guy who worked at the other store, he comes in and he says, He looks around, he sees the crowd, and he says, "Oh, well, I was speaking to my boss, and he says he wanted to know if you could come and do a signing at his store today."
Wow.
I just said, no thanks. I said,
How
I'm kind of
low is
busy.
that? How low
I said,
can
I'm
you
kind
go?
of busy, So,
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That is crazy, man. That's just.
but you
that's-
know what? It bothered me. It bothered me more that he was already selling my books in his store than it was whether he wanted me to come into a store or not.
Right. So why have the books in there? Yeah, exactly. Well, except those were Marvel books, right, or whatever. It's like
Yeah, Marvel, Image, that kind of thing. So I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me.
That doesn't make any sense. I guess it's just flat out prejudice. It's like.
But it was very disappointing to me. That, like I said, you're already selling my stuff in your store.
Yeah. Well, maybe he didn't know that you were a person of color. Maybe he didn't know that.
No, he knew. That's
did?
what he told the guy. He told the guy he
Oh.
already knew. He knew who I was.
Oh, okay.
He already knew.
Well, that takes guts or stupidity. Too.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you how deep your racism goes that you're willing to do that. But then how shallow your racism is, because as soon as you see how much money you can make off of it, then you crawl
It
back.
goes
and you
away.
decide to do it.
Exactly.
If you're going to be,
Which is what
if you're going to be racist, just be straight up racist and be like, don't compromise your racism. Otherwise, you pretty much show everybody why it's not really a thing and why you're a complete and total idiot. Not that we didn't know that before.
Yeah,
But-
really.
Stick to your guns, please.
Okay. So I can use ink now.
Oh.
Also, Randy, I wanted to ask you, when all that craziness was going on in America, how far were you away from it?
You mean as far as where I live?
Yeah.
From Portland? It's it's over the hill, 7 miles away.
Because I've heard different things. I've heard that, the whole city has been basically turned into a wasteland at one point, but then I see other pictures and it looks like it's doing okay.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of destruction downtown. A lot of small businesses who were hurt, and it's bad. It used to be a lot prettier, but it's really only in the southwest and more like where the police department and like the the town hall or the mayor. I don't know, the mayor's office, all that kind of stuff, where they were doing the protests and all those streets, all those businesses on Broadway, which is kind of a main boulevard, and a couple of those other streets. They got hammered pretty good, more than once. So that has not been cleaned up and fixed. In fact, some of it was cleaned up, and then it got hammered again. So,
Right.
But there's still southeast, and there's northeast, and there's southwest and northwest. So there's 3 other quadrants that are doing okay. This guy says, I don't need my entire run of 100 issues signed. Well, that's good. But yeah, it didn't, I wasn't one of the people that was going down there. There were a lot of people who were really curious, and they were like, we should go down there. It's like, we've got to protest the police.
I was looking at one of those Antifa people, and I was like, man, that guy looks just like Randy.
Oh, no. It wasn't me. I got to tell you, it wasn't me. I didn't have the guts to go down there. I had some friends that went down there and got knocked down and hurt, and injured and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So,
it's weird when you see like stuff like that. I never understood why people think that they can go to something like that and nothing happens.
Right.
It's like you're in a riot, you're fighting against the police, but you don't think anything's going to happen to you.
That's weird.
I remember seeing one of those women who had gone to the Capitol, and she was saying, "I cannot believe the police actually pepper sprayed me in my face." I'm like, what did you think was supposed to happen?
So since we have a creative,
Anyway, back to comics. It was something I wanted to talk about, because I was thinking about this earlier. Is when you was just showing like the original pages and stuff that remember, I don't know. Yeah, you probably remember back when they used to letter write on the page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the beginning. my career.
And then they went from that, and he went into that pasting stuff on using rubber cement.
Yeah, it was like being
that
magazine or something, where they were doing.
And that rubber cement destroyed so much art.
Oh, I know.
I have art to this day. I think I don't know if it's any of the stuff that Ken has, because I had sent him a bunch of my stuff where the lettering is falling off of the page.
Yeah, I've got those.
Had
A bunch of those Eric Larson pages. I have them in a bag, and all the lettering has fallen to the bottom of the bag. It's
yep.
I got to paste this back on again.
Yep. Yeah. And then it was bad enough putting the lettering on like that, but when they would put the rubber cement on the page, they would cover up this big area so that when the lettering eventually fell off, you had about 2 or 3 inches of yellow that's like right on your page.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what happens. It stains the paper.
Yep. And also, I don't know if you ever did this.
By the way, that only lasted a couple of years, and then they went to the digital.
The digital, right. Remember when a lot of inkers were inking with just any kind of like felt tip pen? Like Gil Kane inked all his stuff with like a really cheap felt tip pen. So
I remember hearing that, but I was never part of that. It's like when I got in, it was like very strict. Terry Austin was kind of helping me, and Chris Warner. And it was like you're using a crow quill, and you're using, it was before Black Magic even. It was just Higgins. Permanent India ink and stuff, and brushes were Winsor Newton, and then they went to the Raphaels, and so mine's real traditional stuff. I never use crappy stuff.
Yeah, I made the mistake of inking a few things using a really cheap markers, and years later, it's turned green or brown, and some of the ink lines kind of blurred, like somebody had dropped water on it.
No, I remember that happened. The Sharpies even, they'll fade or they'll turn different colors. But, those other magic markers are even worse. Those like a felt tip flare. Oh my gosh, that's weird stuff going on in there.
Yeah, and I look at all that great Gil Kane stuff, and he inked so much of that stuff with that cheap, really, really cheap stuff.
Yeah, I wonder what's left of that art, what it's really like now. It must be pretty awful.
Right.
That's a pretty powerful discussion going on in the art world, sort of. It's, do you just let the art fade away into obscurity, or do you get it restored? And if you get it restored, is it really Gil Kane art anymore, or is it belong to the inker who inked over his art? These are all.
I've never seen anybody who restores original pages. I've never even heard of anybody that does that.
Yeah, there are. There's at least 2 companies that do. Usually it's because of damage, like water damage or something, but they'll basically fix anything that's, if it's fading away, if they'll do it, they just have.
So are they redrawing it, or are they just fixing the damage?
I've seen sometimes they just ink right over where it's been faded or washed away. Sometimes they have to recreate it. So it's, it's usually a partial sort of deal. It's not typically them having to redo the whole thing from like a picture or something. Usually they have sort of the bones of it, or maybe a piece here, or a piece there is sort of fade away. But yeah, they charge a significant amount of money. I had a pipe burst in a closet many years ago, and I had several pieces that were ruined, and I managed to salvage a couple of them, and I looked into getting them restored. But I mean, the pages were they were only meaningful to me, so it wasn't like even now in the 30 years later, they don't have an incredible monetary value, but it sucks to watch them fade away. But it's also, I don't think I want to put out $600, $800, $1,000 to have somebody, fix it when it's not even worth the money to fix, as far as like, monetarily. I mean, even like I said, so it's one of those things where you have to kind of weigh that over buying new art or buying a different piece of art.
Yeah, that's a whole that's a whole different, that whole paper restoration thing. I mean, that's just an incredible science, I mean, it's all the chemicals and how they restore paper and all that. That, it's really expensive, but it's a real art form. Those guys are super scientific about it,
Oh, yeah. Like I've seen one with paper that's sort of, that's damaged, and they repair it, or it's torn off and they replace it. And then, So there's all different ways that they could do that stuff. But yeah, but it's once again, it's a hot button issue with collectors because, you know, once again, a lot of this art, as somebody said the other night on another show, they said that, you know, this art was never meant to last. It was basically work for hire. It was done to be published in a book, and it wasn't meant to be kept, at least, you know, years and years ago. It wasn't meant to be.
There was a time when some of the companies would they would just use the pages, the comic pages, for just scrap type stuff.
Yeah.
And I've heard horror stories of you know, shops taking the comic pages and dropping them on the ground to wipe up some ink that they might have spilled or something like that. And
where Steve did to prop up his TV set.
right. So now that one I understand. I've done that. But they didn't see any value in it until people started to collect it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because once again, they already got paid for it, so it wasn't, you know, it wasn't until, I mean, there was small collections of that stuff going on in like the 70s, I guess, but it really didn't hit its popularity until the 80s. You know, when there started to actually be people who had an abundance of the art and collected a ton of the art and did that. And
that's true.
Yeah.
And somebody.
I remember back.
We do.
I remember back. Well, I remember back in the 70s when I went to shows and people would be selling original art. Usually the artists themselves would be selling original art at these shows. You know, and I pick up the page and I look in the back of the page and I'm like, man, is this guy crazy? He's selling this page for $60. Yeah. And then years later, I said, wait a minute, that was like Bernie Wrightston. Right. That was selling art for $60 a page.
Well, yeah, because you're like, I get the whole book for 60 cents.
And it didn't mean, it didn't mean
one page.
Yeah, it meant absolutely nothing to me at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, those people that knew what was going on, you know, they collected. I wish I'd bought Kirby pages when I used to go to San Diego, even though I didn't have any money. I should have spent $200 to get some of those Flash pages. $200, you know, I mean, I saw them sitting there, you know, it was like, oh man, wish I could.
Yeah, but $200 back then was, you know, once again, it was, you know, it was a different world. It was like, you're going to spend $200 on a piece of paper, you know?
Right.
It didn't factor into it. And we all knew it was art, but it wasn't, you didn't know it was going to be tangible. You didn't know, you know, anybody who has, like, I used to have a Kirby page. It wasn't even anything special, but it was really cool to have. You know, a piece of his stuff.
I wish I had one.
It probably cost me less than $200 for the page. This is back in the 90s, you know, but it was, you know, but that's the thing is like, you know, nobody knew. And plus once they dumped all those Kirby pages out, you were like, there's no way they just dumped thousands out and this stuff's not gonna be worth anything. There's just you didn't realize it was gonna have the legs and the field was gonna grow to where even though they dumped, you know, 8,000, 10,000 pages in the public, that those were eventually gonna be gone. And then, you know,
I know, it's like, you know, but I don't know. I had a feeling they would be. I mean, I just thought, you know, Kirby is the king. It's like nobody else could create as quickly and as much as he did. And I just thought, this is going to be worth something. But at about 20 years, that's when it kind of seems to happen. Like with, you know, collector cars and stuff, when they hit 20 years. And that's even with the stuff I worked on Amazing. It was 20 years. And then the prices started to skyrocket. I was like, wow. I love collector cars.
Right. So on a side note, just to parlay that into something else. So it'd be really cool if you did have that original art, if you found a way to, like, you know, store it and you found a way to put it in something like they do with the comics. So we got Rob here from PGX. Hi, Rob. How are you doing, bud?
Great. How you guys doing today?
We're doing wonderful. Right. And Rob and Ken are going to tell you about something really cool that we're going to be offering for these pieces that are being done right now, and something that PGX offers. So I'll let you guys take it away.
Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, I was at a show last weekend and ran into Rob, and he had something on his table that I had an idea for years ago, and apparently he did also. So good minds think alike. I always wondered why you can't slab original art. And,
Oh, they don't let you do that, huh?
well, so all of a sudden, here we are with some Slab original art from PGX. So what they do is they make original art and they put it in a slab and they give it a label. Tell us about it, Rob, what the process is and what you're doing with it.
Yeah,
Sure.
put him on full screen there, Ken.
Sure.
We're not-
There you go.
It's not in a slab. It's just between our archival inner well material, and then it's a little thicker also. So it's going to be thicker. Once you go and you heat seal around this thing, it stays pretty rigid. It stays pretty secure. So I know it has a little bend to it, but I live in Florida. I've got OA, as you can see, and I was here for Hurricane Irma a couple years ago, and I had to evacuate the island I live on in Florida, and with that, all I had was my original art and cardboard that I was sticking it between. So I was evacuating with my OA, and it wasn't protected at all, and at that point I had the idea we should be doing original art preservation at CBC. I went to their management, brought it up, and they said, we're working on it. Here it is, like 4 years later, they still aren't doing it. I went out on my own and said, I'm going to go do it.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I think it's a great idea. When I saw it, I was like, damn, excellent. I'm glad somebody finally did it. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. And if you look at how thin it is, I mean, for storing or anything like that, it's beautiful. Look at that. You can preserve your original art. It's got a beautiful label at the top.
And we're doing prints and posters, so I don't mean to step on your toes too.
Yeah.
We're doing prints and posters also, guys.
Yep. And he's showing you 11 by 17, but he can do just about anything, right?
Correct. I went ahead and I've got a signed copy of Rolling Stone from when I was in college. Living Colour is my favorite band. I went to their merch table after a concert, got them to sign it, and said, hey, for the fun of it, I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in plastic, and I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks really good. Yeah.
The other thing we're doing too is Treasury editions.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah, the larger comics. Those are definitely hard to find something to preserve them in.
and then over the weekend, Cecil Grimes, the cosplayer that looks just like Rick from The Walking Dead, he was at the show, and him and I quickly became friends. I went over to his table and said, hey, you're signing all these pictures. You've got this printer right there, and you're printing off pictures. You're signing them there. So why don't we go ahead and you have some submission forms, a box, and when you go ahead and you take the submission, you stick it in the box, and then it gets sent to me. I go ahead and put all this stuff in plastic, and then send it out for him to all of his customers. So
Hold on 1 second, if you don't mind.
yeah.
We're
There we go. All right, let's see who's up. Hold on for 1 second, Rob. We're going to see who's got the next.
It looks
claim
like that
for,
one's done. That looks great.
Yeah, we're done. So hopefully I get some Venom or Carnage action here pretty good.
Yeah, let's see who's going to be first up to get that claim.
Meanwhile,
Hey, while we're waiting, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that in, Rob. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm going to do it myself, and we are going to offer this up for you guys. So if anybody wants to slab any of the art, whether it be tonight or any other night, we're going to partner together, and we're going to do some slab. We're going to. I don't know if you call. I guess it's not a slab service. You said it's not a slab. It's called encapsulation.
Preservation.
Preservation. So $35 each, up to 11 by 17 in size. Gold label authentication. Turnaround time is about 2 to 3 weeks from when I get the art. So once, say for instance, Randy ships me the art tonight, and somebody wants to get it encapsulated, it's going to be about 2 to 3 weeks turnaround from when I get it, and I get it into Rob's hands, and he gets it back to me. Now, the good thing about it is he's actually within driving distance of me. So if I really needed to, if I had enough of it, I would just drive it out to him, let him do it, drive back and pick it up. I'll probably do that myself with some of the art that I plan on having done because I don't want to ship it. But this is something that we're offering, and we're going to offer it every week for anything we do. So this is going to be a great partnership. We're a fledgling company. He's a fledgling company. We're going to grow this thing together.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I have there's some pictures. Here's some pictures that he sent me of some stuff that was done.
So
you can see how hard it's done.
There's a couple of these that are covered from Scout Comics. So I'm good friends with James Haig at Scout Comics. Here in the next couple months, I'm going to have full-page ads in all of Scout Comics. And I'll be doing prints and posters for them. Like you can see, there's original art. I'll be ordering some books for him. And when he goes to cons and has exclusives, I'll go ahead and get him books slabs so he can bring them right to cons, and he's able to get them in people's hands right away. One thing, and we just spoke, within the last 36 hours or so. Since that time, yesterday morning, I went and leased a tiny little space here on Venice Island where I live. And I am opening up, so part of PGX grading is 9/8 Wednesdays. So 9/8 Wednesdays is a service that that I'm providing where you can have a subscription pull list. And then every Wednesday when that book gets sent to me through Diamonds, I will go ahead and holder that thing day of release. So I went ahead and I just opened up, I'm opening this next week on Wednesday, a tiny little boutique comic book store here as well. That's going to just be only slabbed books, no raw books whatsoever unless they're like the polybag Batman Fortnite stuff. And there's going to be an art gallery in there. It's going to be original art and just slab books. It's going to be the world's first strictly comic book store, boutique, and only graded bookstore.
Wow, that's great.
And it's tiny, but it's mine. So.
Hey.
So it's a submission, it's a drop-off and pick-up also for PGX Comics. So that's going to be really great. A lot of the collectors in this area have been wanting a submission drop-off and pick-up center for years for my competition. They don't have one. So, I've listened to, customers, and I've listened to some friends in the industry. They think, hey, having a submission center and a place also where people can buy graded books day of release is something that the feedback I've gotten so far has been really, really positive. So I'm happy.
Okay.
Excellent.
I need to draw some more.
Yeah, let's see. Just in case anybody doesn't know, let's see. We have a claim. Well, I know I have a claim. I can't tell what it is. Let's see. So it says Lucas says he claimed say. Oh no, he's talking to somebody else. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to figure this out. I can't. I think Michael wanted to know if Larry. Michael wanted to know if Larry was drawing, and yes, he is, but not right now. So there we go. So there is a claim. There is a claim right now.
Okay.
Avi, it's not just Spider-Man, but it's Spider-Man universe characters. So if you'd like something, you can claim that. That's what Randy's doing. So anybody in the Spider universe. That's what we're doing.
Villains are great. I love doing villains. Obviously, Carnage and Venom are specials right now.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a reboot that Bagley and I did based on 361, Amazing 361. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of fun to do, and I had this is colored with Copics, and I don't know if did I show this to you guys earlier. This is the rejected cover. Beautiful. Okay, the rejected cover to 361. So they rejected it, I guess, because Bagley didn't like the construction of Carnage's waist, and it looks like the battle's over. So this would have been 361, and I should have kept the original. It was supposed to come back to me, the black and white, and got stolen out of the offices. Somebody fast fingered it. As soon as those sales hit like 700,000 on that book, that page was gone. So, but this, at least I had a scan of it, so I've had the print and stuff for quite a while.
Oh, nice.
But those
So
are kind of too cool.
Very cool. All right, so Randy, we had a question. Would Ghost Rider fit into your comfort zone or not?
Not today. I think
Not today. There you go. That's all right. That's all right. I just wanted to make sure. I'm trying
Let's
to
do
get
Spider-Man universe. I'll do him another time.
Yeah. Sure. So hopefully that answers your question, Michael. So yeah, we're just waiting for somebody to chime in with a request.
Okay.
But yeah, no, all that sounds really good, Rob. With the everything you're offering, man, it's really unique.
Well, there's just been a lot of rules that my competition has put in place, I feel, over the last 20 years, and some of them just aren't very collector friendly. Some of them don't make sense, and those rules, I'm going to break them. So, dynamic forces books, we've got 20 years of signed discs out there, right? And CBC will put a perfect label on it. And, we all know that those SIGs are real. And, I'm going to just
it's done.
Nope. Well, just in time because Randy, we got a claim for you of the character Scream.
Okay. That's a crazy one. That's really crazy.
And then that opens us up for Ken to hit another button, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. He stepped away or if he's...
Scream. Okay. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
popular.
And then CJ James, looks like you are the first one to claim for Larry. So we got a Sabretooth, please, for CJ James for Larry. Sorry, Michael and Chris, just a bit too slow.
All right. So let's do this.
But yeah, man, break those ceilings, buddy. That's like I said. I always tell this to my daughter. I'm like, nobody ever got anywhere in this life by being like everybody else. So I always love it when people try new things. And I think this is a great idea.
And I understand the concern people have that they think I'm holding books and I'm selling them and I'm going to bump grades artificially, and that's just not going to happen. They're guaranteed 9.8. So at some point, you sit there and you go, this isn't a 9.8, which it's not. I am a very tough grader when it comes to 9.8s. It's not 100%. If it's a 9.7 push, it's not going in the holder as a 9.8. It's got to be a 9.8. So,
right.
I really don't feel I'm going to have many people send books back and want refunds. I think they're going to be thrilled. The product looks really good, and the feedback I've had has been great. So,
yeah, that's wonderful.
And like you said, if anybody wants anything done tonight from any of the sketch offs from Randy or Larry, just let me know, and we'll add it on there. $35, and it'll get preserved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
Scream's kind of an interesting version of Carnage. I am really surprised though that nobody jumped on the Carnage Venom thing. I mean, it's like those are when I do shows and stuff. That's what people want. It's like
They will. It's, sometimes with these claim shows, you can have a lull, and then all of a sudden you throw up a claim and 10 people claim it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got people that come in and go, and sometimes they miss. They go, all right, it's already been claimed. I got a couple minutes, so they go make themselves some dinner or something, and then they just misjudge the time, and they come back, and they're like, damn it, I missed it again, and then plus Thursday nights are getting crowded. There's a lot of people trying to jump on our Thursday night bandwagon with their shows, but we were here first, people. This is us. We own these Thursday nights. We got this. So they can come in with whatever they want to come in with, but this we're gonna show them who's boss on Thursday nights with our great people.
Let's see.
So Lucas wanted to know if you do a 50-50, like half Venom face, half Carnage face. Is that something
I do those all the time? Sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
You said half Venom, half Carnage. Okay.
Yeah.
I get a lot of them where it's like, you know, half Spider-Man, half Venom, half Eddie Brock, half Carnage, whatever.
Yeah. Right. No, very cool. Yeah.
Okay,
Good to know.
sure.
But yeah, like Ken was saying, if anybody wants to get any of these pieces preserved by PGX, just let us know, and yeah, we'll add it on. Just $35, and you can be on the forefront of this cool thing. Like I always said, it's you know, I understand some people's trepidation towards getting like, you know, original art that's basically like, you know, pages from the books. Like, you know, maybe I can understand that, but like sketches, like I always wondered why nobody would, you know, do this. And it's one of these things where, you know, you can literally, you see so many sketches on eBay, and sometimes you wonder, especially if it's from somebody who's maybe passed, if it's authentic or not, or if somebody's trying to, you know, ape their style and just make a few bucks off of them. And this is like another great way to prove that what you're getting is what you got. You know, I think it's a great idea.
Well, Mike,
You know, every once in a while, I get somebody who would send me a email that would say, "Oh, Larry, I just wanted to know if you was the one who did this drawing," because it was something they wanted to buy from eBay. So I look at it, and sometimes I remember my stuff, and sometimes I don't remember it. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I did that drawing or not. That was like 30 years ago, you know?
Right.
Boy, yeah, you're talking. It's a long time ago. The 90s were a long time ago now.
well, one of the things about what we're doing direction-wise at PGX to really bring a lot of legitimacy to this is that one of the people that's on my team is Jim Halpern at Heritage Auctions. His son, Mikey Halpern. So Mikey's bringing a lot of credibility to this. I'm good friends with Mikey, and at some point here, we're going to be working real hard to get not only PGX created comics, but PGX created artwork into their auctions. So that will be happening. Over the last couple of years, I've been an advisor to former CGC president Mark Haskell. So I've learned all the top collectors and dealers in the industry and auction houses. So I'm friends with all those guys, and eventually you'll see us start popping up in those places.
All right.
Well, I
Yeah,
know
very
for
cool.
sure. These pieces,
I wanted to know with the collected thing with art, when you start getting up way in the really high amounts of money, are those regular comic people collecting that stuff, or are those just like celebrities and?
They're regular comic people. I'm pretty fortunate because I'm here like in the heart of graded comics, right? I'm here with all sorts of collectors that are around me, and then these collectors know all the top people in the world. So every year there's a get-together that happens that like all these top guys get together in like a 14-bedroom house and bring all their art and books together and take a look at it, and I've been included in that the last couple of years. But so you got those types of guys, and yes, you've got a lot of little people out there too, a lot of little collectors that, you know, I'm a little collector. I only have a few pieces. I just started buying OA a couple of years ago, and when I first bought a couple OA pieces, I'm like, hey, I want these preserved. So, but you know, at every single con, you got all sorts of collectors and fans going on like this. And getting doodles, getting things done on sketchbooks, and you know, they want it authenticated. You know, it's silly when you go to a guy and you get a signature on the book. You run to a witness table to go get a witness, and they go, "We didn't witness this, so you can't get it slabbed." And it's like, wait, let's go to the artist. He'll tell you he just signed it, and they're like, "Sorry." So.
These are two pieces I'm going to be submitting. This is a Doug Mankey.
So Randy,
Yes, sir.
have you had anybody famous outside of comics buy anything of yours?
You?
Yeah, you mean like an actor or something? Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I think.
Hey, Randy, I'm trying to remember some. Did you ink any of the Punisher stuff that I did?
Yeah, I inked that where he goes to Australia.
Now, do you know that cover?
Nobody's here for us, Ken. Nobody's here for us, Ken. Just keep your mouth shut.
Now, do you know that cover, where the Punisher is on the camel?
Yeah, exactly.
Of that
exactly.
That was bought by Graham Nash of Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Was it? Now that's cool. The one that I
Yep.
worked on. How about that? That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So now, how did you hear about that? Did you sell it? Obviously, you didn't sell
Well,
it.
the guy who sold it, this Mitch, whatever his name is, he had huh?
Mitch Jarrett's?
No.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he was the one. It was sold through his company.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the problem. Is like, I'm sure if I track down, some of those covers that I've sold, they're probably in the hands of some people that have got some bucks and they may be famous. I mean, who knows?
Yep.
I know that the rejected cover, the one I just showed you guys, which, by the way, these prints are available for $25. So if you want to order them from Ken, you can. There's stuff like this, and there's Spider-Man. Here's a good one, probably seen before.
Oh yeah,
The
that's
Carnage
beautiful.
stuff. Yeah. Here's one Eric Larson I did with Venom. These are all pretty much Spider-Man stuff. There's like a Jurassic Park one with this, the giant Tyrannosaurus Rex. There's an Ultimate Venom. There's the clone, his new costume, which is actually kind of a nice Dynamite. Here's both. Some people like the Clone Saga. I get a lot of people that still want Scarlet Spider and him. There's actually kind of a cool one here. It's redone. And of course, the famous, the one that I took to Stan Lee because, he remembered, obviously. And since I did work on Doc for 3.5 years, I did do a Doc that I kind of like. I think it came out pretty well. So
it's gorgeous, man.
A lot of these, and some people want. This has been reprinted recently because Marvel contacted me and I had to scan because, like I said, the guy whoever stole it sold it many times, and they emailed me a couple of years ago to verify that that's what it was, and then it just sold a couple of months ago for like 65,000 or 68,000, which is really pretty much underselling, but it was on Heritage or one of those auctions or whatever. Anyway. So those are available. If anybody's interested, they can contact Ken. So,
I wonder if that Heritage thing has affected anybody's price that they charge for stuff.
Maybe. I mean, although if it's an auction, you don't know what it's going to go for until it goes, right?
No. I mean, people charging more money because they feel it's going to eventually be in that auction.
Oh yeah. Maybe. Well, I mean, hey, I'm holding back a couple of really great covers. I've got one with the Hulk and Spider-Man that Bagley and I did. It's the action one from, I don't know what it is, 370 something or 380, and another one. And there, I did a video of us both signing it. It was witnessed by his agent, and we're going to hype it up, and it'll go on the auction block at some point because there's potential there. But it'll be down the road. Anything with the Hulk or Wolverine, those generally tend to go up a lot in value. Just kind of a collector thing. I mean, look at the.
I was having a conversation with Al Milgram, and he has sold almost none of the art that he's
I know.
He still has it in his house.
It's ridiculous.
Like, wow.
He's afraid of flooding the market. And I said, Al, you just got to start selling it off a little at a time. What are you doing?
Yep.
Your time to retire,
Yep.
Poor Al is like so unhealthy. I mean, it's like, he's diabetic. He doesn't sleep hardly. I mean, he just wants to work or go to do things.
That sounds like me. I go do the same thing.
He should have sold those and retired. He should sell them right now. Retire. It's like
because I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. You can wait until he says it to you. But he was telling me he had a guy come over and go through all the stuff and gave him an estimate for how much all that stuff was worth.
Well, I'm sure.
He has original pages from the first like 5 or 6 issues of the Hulk that Jack Kirby did.
What?
He has some of the original Avengers pages that Kirby did, and
he was collecting that stuff. Wow, I didn't know that. That was his stuff.
I think what it was is because this used to happen a lot back in the day before there was a lot of value put on this stuff. There would be times that if you asked the artist for something, he would just give it to you.
Wow.
There was a lot of art that was just given to me simply because I asked for it.
Wow. I did trade some of my crummy stuff for some Jack Davis originals. And I am
that's cool.
I'm so happy to have those. A couple of them were unpublished cartoons, like 2-panel and some other, and it was like they wanted my Doctor Strange stuff. It was like, yeah, here, give me those Jack Davis originals. Those are great.
Yeah.
One of my best friends tells a story about how in the early 90s he went stopped by Todd McFarlane's table, and Todd was asking like $300 a page, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, who do you think you are?"
Right.
Todd McFarlane, that's who he thought he was.
Right, but at the time he was, starting out, and his prices were kind of outrageous for the rest of the industry. So my buddy passed on it, and he's just kicking himself.
Somebody put up Ryan O'Connor said he's been collecting for 10 years and now he's being priced out of the original art market because of rises in commission and aftermarket prices. And, it's happening. It's true. I mean, it's like the stuff now is worth what I was talking before the show, wasn't I, about the Bagley cover and the splash page by Eric Larson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the Eric Larson one was just a splash. It's nice. I mean, I had a lot of those splash pages. It was like almost $50,000 it went for, and the cover only went for 32. It's like, wow, all right.
I remember selling original art back in the 80s for like $20 a piece.
Oh yeah, yep, no question. Can't get rid of it. Time to sell it at 20.
Yep.
Yeah, listen, you're not the only one. I remember talking to some dealers where Sal Buscema was trying to sell his stuff, and somebody, said, "What do you want for it?" He said, I don't know, like $2 a page. And the guy said, I'll just take it. He said, I'll just take everything you had. So the guy ended up buying 4,000 pages of Sal Buscema artwork. So back then, that was a windfall for him. It was $8,000 for a bunch of boxes of paper, but now, now those pages are worth, hundreds of dollars a piece, if not more. And
yeah,
and that's, $2 a page. Somebody spent $8,000 for that and bought millions of dollars worth of art. Nuts.
Exactly. I mean, I had those. Oh, go ahead.
A guy was telling me he used to work in this comic store down in Florida. So he says one day Gil Kane came in there, and Gil Kane had a stack of these pages, and Gil Kane had just said to the guy, "Listen," he said, "I need some money right now." He says, "So I'll sell you these pages for," I think it was like $5 or $10 a piece. The guy just bought the whole stack of pages that he had, and Gil just walked out with the money.
Yeah.
That could happen. I mean, those things have happened. That's crazy, man. It's like I wish I could have been on. Well, I was going to say I did like 85 issues of SpiderMan stuff where I inked it and I even penciled some, but 65 issues of Amazing, and then the other stuff was like Web or SpiderMan Unlimited or something like that, whatever. But if you look at those Amazing pages, it was collectors that bought them, like the big Galactus guys that had tons of money, like Mike Burke for being the Spider-Man guy or whatever. And he bought, hundreds, a couple hundred from me. And, he paid really good prices for them. I mean, he paid 100, 150, maybe 200 for some. I made a lot of money. But now those pages, the crappy pages are like $5,000, you know? The good pages are 20 or 30, It's like, geez.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't real.
Nowadays, all that has to happen is some character you worked on ends up in a movie, and then suddenly everything skyrockets.
Thank you for that. I hope that's true. I'm hoping that's true. Actually, I've seen that already starting to get it. People are getting pretty excited. I hope they don't blow it. I mean,
listen, I did a post the other day, and this guy had he had the first issue of the Eternals in a one of them, what do you call it, slab things or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, he was selling it for like $3,000.
Wow.
I was like, man, I remember buying that book when it first came out for 25 cents.
I've got that.
Yeah,
Yep.
listen, just because he's selling it for $3,000 doesn't mean anybody's buying
Doesn't mean somebody's buying it. Yeah, that's right.
But then but then somebody comes on and they said somebody else had just bought one of those for no, his was almost 4,000. Somebody came on and said somebody else had just bought one for 3,000.
Wow.
I believe it was just at 2,000. So
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 months ago, it was at $1,900. So hearing $3,000 doesn't surprise me at all.
I'll be darned. That is amazing. Wow.
It's the new speculatory market.
Pace.
Well, same with Nova 1, same with Miss Marvel 1. I mean, all these books that were, dollar bin books forever. Even Star Wars #1. Star Wars #2 was just $350 a year ago. Now it's 5G.
Sea-level characters,
Yeah, Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little character.
Well, it's like the West Coast Avengers books. I mean, those things were in every dollar bin for the last, 3 decades until all of a sudden WandaVision brings White Vision back, and then that book now is selling for, I don't even know what it's selling for, but it's
$2,000.
yeah, which is just ridiculous because you couldn't give those things away just 5 years ago.
I bought one for $1 2 years ago, and now it's a 9.8.
Yeah.
All right.
Used to be one of my favorite things is to go into a comic book store and go through their 50-cent bin and just pull out a bunch of stuff. I'm like, man, people are crazy to not buy this stuff, And then later on, it becomes something that's of some value.
It's a thing.
You say, yeah, but I got it when it was 50 cents.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about comic book stores. And see, when I grew up, I mean, even through high school and stuff, that didn't exist. It was like,
right.
I mean, it was, I guess I should move it was my camera. I'm sorry, it fell over. What's going on here?
I thought you were trying to focus.
Yeah, what am I doing here? Let me just do this. I'm going to move it over a little bit. No, it was like I went to bookstores, like Cal's bookstore in Cameron's and a place near my high school, and I would buy collections. I'd go in there and go, wow, all the Sergeant Rocks practically by, Joe Kubert, or all these old Green Lanterns going back to like issue number 7 or I got like first appearance of the Justice League, right? In Brave and the Bold 27. I mean, for nothing, for like nickel, 10 cents.
Now listen, I never been a big Tarzan fan.
Yeah.
And but I was in one show and I'm going through their 10-cent bin. And it was like almost an entire run of the Joe Kubert Tarzan stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I'm not crazy about Tarzan, but I love Joe Kubert's art. I said, so I'm going to buy all of these.
That's why I bought all that stuff just because of Joe. It's like, geez, he's amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, even Buscema did some great stuff on those books, but those are just characters that just ran their course and didn't matter who was drawing them. Nobody was buying them.
It's not funny. Yeah. The whole sword and sorcery thing was big when I was in high school, like in the late 60s and early 70s. And then it just kind of poofed out, even though Lord of the Rings stuck around and, it became a thing. And it's just, all of that. It was really hot. Sword and sorcery was hot in the 60s and 70s.
But were those guys who did those books, they didn't necessarily do them to make money because they could have done superhero stuff and made more money. Right. They just liked that stuff. That was the stuff they grew up with.
They just wanted to do Conan, right? He was like, I'm going to do Conan.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I was working on some stuff. I had several books I was inking, but they mistakenly sent me a bunch of John Buscema pages for Conan. And it was like 6 or 7 pages. And it was supposed to go to Tom Palmer, I think, or somebody like that. And it was like, I opened it up and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I mean, it was miraculous because it was almost like stick figures, but everything everything was there. The drawing was there, but it was in the least number of lines you could put on a page. So he was letting do all the work.
Remember when I was telling you about breakdowns?
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Breakdowns.
Right.
I mean, I would have been petrified to try to ink that because it would have required me to completely do all the work. I mean, it's like,
you're not really inking it; you're drawing it.
Exactly. I mean, it was scary. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I think you sent this to the wrong person. It's got to go back.
Yeah, to call those finishes was definitely an insult to the person who was finishing them. Because they definitely had to do a lot of the work, if not almost all of it, except for like the bare bones of
It was impressive. I mean, I looked.
I was at a show once. So John was up there and he was talking about people working on stuff. And John at the time was not a big fan of all the Filipino guys who were inking a lot of stuff at the time, and who were the ones who were doing that kind of work on his stuff. But my thing is, how can you accuse them of doing a bad job when you're not giving them anything? You know?
Right.
Yeah, no, they would erase things like Alfred Alcala and stuff. A friend of mine, Chris Warner, had he was a good penciler. He did, he worked on Doctor Strange and Moon Knight and a bunch of other stuff. But he wanted to get a thing inked by one of these Filipino inkers or artists, and they just erase your work and until you can barely see it, and then they just go in with like Chinese brush or whatever, and they completely recreate over the top of it. So it's not really used anymore. It's over.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I did a cover to Cloak and Dagger graphic novel that I did back in the day, and Kevin Nolan inked the cover. So people would have been saying to me over the years, "What do you think of Kevin Nolan inking your stuff?" And I said, well, when I looked at it, I said to myself, man, that's a really nice Kevin Nolan drawing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I didn't recognize me at all. It was it became something else, but it was cool looking.
Yeah, that's the thing with Kevin Nolan. I've only seen one piece that he's ever inked where I saw the pencils come through. And it's only one. Everything else I've ever seen him do, his brush is it's so strong and his style is so unique that it just sort of overpowers the pencils.
Yeah, of course, a lot of us would die to have Kevin Nolan do that.
Oh, well, exactly. But it's the one, and I actually have a copy of it downstairs. If I have time later, I'll bring it back. But it's actually a cover to the issue of X-Men. That Larry, you did 2 pages in that book, and it was the book that had all the different artists.
Right.
So I didn't even realize until I picked it up again that he had done the inks on it. But it's Jim Lee. It's totally Jim Lee. You can see Jim in every single figure. And the only reason why I know Nolan inked it is because right under Jim Lee's name on the cover it says Nolan, and I'm like, I never would have thought. I just wouldn't have, because I know I've seen hundreds of things that Kevin has done, and they're all just his brush just overpowers.
Yep, that's him. That's why you go, hey, we want Kevin Nolan on this. Make it look like that.
So, and Larry, I heard you earlier say that you might still have some stuff where the bubbles are falling off, and all I want to say to that is, are you holding out on us? Because I want to see that stuff. If you still got stuff in your house, that's
no, that's not in my house. I actually, before I moved, I sent a bunch of stuff to a friend of mine. He's holding on to that stuff.
Oh, okay. Well,
I've still got some if you want to see it on some of the SpiderMan stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's in the bottom of the bag. It's like I've tried gluing some of back on with glue stick or something. But it's
no, don't do that. No.
Leave it at the bottom of the bag.
Yeah. Well, I think the best way to try to do it, if you wanted to put them right back where they're supposed to go, is you get some archival tape. And you just and put them right on the back, and then just make sure you put it into something.
Somebody else can do it if they want. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can. Like I said, I actually speaking of those pieces, I have one of the 2 pages that Larry did in that X-Men book, and it was missing. Cool. Yeah, and it was missing a couple word balloons, so I recreated the word balloons and got them, and just because I thought it kind of needed those, because there really wasn't any. It wasn't really any covering up, but. Looks good.
When you do the stuff like that, where you might have done 1 or 2 pages in something, you forget about it. Mm-hmm. So I forgot about that stuff. Right. So every once in a while, Marvel would reprint it in something else or whatever. So I would be at a show and somebody would come over to get me to sign something. I would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't draw that book." And they walk away. And I did that for the longest time. I'm like, why do they keep bringing me these books that I haven't drawn? And then I looked inside and said, "Oh, that's because they reprinted a couple of my things in that book."
Right.
So I stopped not signing stuff after that point.
So are you still getting the royalty checks and stuff from Marvel?
Every now and then. If they usually when they reprint something, they will send. It's never, it's never. It'll be like an $8 check or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
never,
I got a few.
the most usually maybe a few $100s, and that's it.
Right, like Maximum Carnage, they do it like every other year, and it's maybe that one is the most, like $800 or $700. But usually you're right, they're like $50, $40, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But they do come. I get about a dozen every year. Of course, I get an awful lot of stuff. So they like reprinting.
Sometimes they might only reprint a few pages out of a story that you drew, so they'll pay you like for that. Hey, I'm grateful anytime they send me some money, so it doesn't matter to me.
I love the fact that they'll do whole collections. They'll go, now we're going to do the Eric Larson, Randy Emberlin collection. It's like, yes, in a trade paperback, or we're going to do the Bagley stuff in multiple, collections. And those collections are great. Those sell. That's one of the things that they make a lot of money off of. Because comics don't make a lot of money.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost them. And it doesn't cost them anything.
Big deal for them, no. And that's why Dark Horse told me.
I remember somebody once said that if Marvel stopped publishing and all they did was reprint stuff, they could reprint books for like 50 years.
Yeah, probably. They probably could. And they do. And they do reprint stuff over and over and over.
Yep.
That's true.
That's how they make their money.
And the same storyline.
That's what was saving the industry when things were really bad. Dark Horse is the one telling me about that. They go, we're so glad that we have our trade, all these trade paperbacks and stuff, and that's what's getting us through. And I guess DC and Marvel were doing the same thing, pumping them out.
Yeah, a lot of companies only survive on those.
Yeah, you got to have the product, though. That's the thing. Somebody had to do the product. Before those things come out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Larry, that looks great.
Are you doing anything, Larry, with like a Kickstarter or anything? Are you starting to work on any project that you like?
Not right now.
The only Kickstarter was me.
Yeah, exactly. I have stuff I'm working on, but nothing that I've announced publicly yet.
Because a lot of my friends they're really doing a lot of stuff. I mean, what's his face? Stephen Butler, I worked with on web. He's getting ready to start a couple of projects, and he's doing that. Not just a Kickstarter. I don't think he started yet. But what's that one where a patron? It's some kind of a patron.
Right.
Yeah, support.
Patreon is the nice people's version of what's that one OnlyFans.
Oh, that's another one. I don't know. Go fund me. Go fill my wallet. I want that one. Go fill my wallet for me. But that's great, though. Who's it? Carl Kiesel and Ron Randall both live nearby, and they've done numerous Kickstarters successfully. And Ron's got his Trekker character. He's like got a trade paperback or a second one. And
I didn't know he was still doing that character.
Yeah, he was pumping it. When I was going to conventions, like 2017, 18, 19, I kept running into him in all of these conventions all over, and he was promoting it. And then he started doing the Kickstarter. And I think Dark Horse was distributing for him because they were the original ones that, it appeared in John's #1 and 2. And so anyway, it's going. He's got a good deal.
I think he was telling me at one show that one of the issues he had is that Dark Horse would pay based on, how the book was doing.
Right.
So if one issue sold less than another issue, you would get paid less money for it.
Yeah, I think it's true. They used to pay more on the front end when they were involved with creators. And now it's more like, well, we'll share profits with you on the back end,
Right.
And that's like, okay, well, it better sell. If it doesn't sell, I worked on Ghost for almost 3 years with Ivan Rice or Yvonne Rice, the famous guy at DC that does all the Superman and the Green Lantern.
His stuff is really good.
He's incredible. Yeah, and he was great back then. When he was probably late teens, early 20s when he was doing that stuff, and he was kind of ripping off Jim Lee, and then he started looking at Adam Hughes, and Terry Austin, or not Terry Austin, but Terry, you know what I'm talking about. The guy's kind of attitudes like, oh, Rachel and Terry. Those, you know. Anyway, the point is, he got up so fast, and it was so great to be able to meet him and watch his progress. I mean, I was learning at the same time he was learning, so it was really fun. That was a good 3 years, good 2 or 3. And then we got work at Marvel, and because I pumped it, I talked to the other, said this guy's great, and Marvel was not smart enough to sign him to a long-term contract, so he went over to DC, and that's where he's been. They're really dumb. They missed out on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was Mark Bernardo or something was my editor on Quicksilver, and we did some issues of Quicksilver, and then it was like there was a Vision miniseries, and you know, now it's like my compliment from him when I see him, because he speaks really broken English, mostly he's speaking Portuguese, but he's like, he goes, Randy, you my second favorite inker. Because it's the guy in his studio does all the work, right? Whatever his name is, Fredo or something. And he goes, if I ever need help, I have them get you. I contact you. And it's like, well, that's nice. Thank you.
Right.
Well, let's see. We were going to, just in case anybody missed it, we were going to let Rob tell us about his new venture with the sort of encapsulating art. So let's give the floor to him for a second so he can let anybody know who's new that this is something new we're doing, and we're offering it with anything that anybody gets tonight from Randy or from Larry, and then in the future. And well, go ahead. I'll let you take the floor, sir.
Hey, thanks, Joe. So yeah, I met Ken this last week at the Bradenton Comic-Con. He stopped by the table and said that he every Thursday night has a program going with artists and wanted to go ahead and partner with me because I'm doing original art preservation. So I'm putting original art into archival plastic in a well material, heat sealing around it with a label. Every piece of original art is going to get the gold label, the signature label. It's just going to simply say original art on it. If it's a published page, it's going to say it's a If it's a preliminary or a sketch, it's going to say just that. So on this, it's a published cover, so the Mall Special Edition #1 cover, and then it says that it's a published cover for the Comic Book Nation exclusive variant cover. So we're doing that. We're doing prints and posters. So you can see this one signed by J. Scott Campbell. I have on my team for prints and posters, Troy Vogel. Troy Vogel was he's one of 3 rock concert poster graders in the world, or was at CGC at the time. He got let go a year ago. I scooped him up immediately and said, I mean, he's a paper money grader, plus he's an all things flat grader. He's, like I said, at one point, he was the only person grading rock concert posters and prints and posters at CGC. So the guy is tops. He is one of the best in the world, and he's on my team also. So I've got Troy. I've got a new apprentice. His name is Jackson Fields. He's 16 years old, and he was at the Comic-Con this last weekend running around with his new iPhone 12. Something else that we're going to be doing is I have the YouTube channel for Comic-Con TV Live. So very here soon, we're going to be launching the first episode of that. Jackson's working on compiling that thing and editing it to where we'll launch that, and we'll be going to the Lakewood Con here in a couple weeks, and then we're going to go to Tampa, then we got MegaCon Orlando, then I'm going to be at the Big Apple Con in New York with Mike Carbonaro for that weekend, and then the week after that I might be at NYCC.
Excellent. Yeah, these are 2 pieces that I'm definitely going to have encapsulated. This is a Doug Mankey.
That's awesome.
Detective Comics 998 page. That was actually a gift from Doug. So I'm gonna have this done, and then I don't have a whole lot of original art outside of covers. This is the only other piece, and it's my pride and joy. This is an Iceman page from the original Iceman series back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So these 2 pieces are getting sent over to get
Sweet, thank you.
to get encapsulated. So definitely take advantage of it, guys. Like I said, it's $35. For
Yeah,
anything
there
up
we
to
go.
11 by 17. He can do magazines. He can do all kinds of different things. As you saw, prints. And you can send the stuff right to me, and then I will get it over to Rob.
Yeah.
So if any of the people that are done tonight, if you guys want to do that, just let me know, and I'll make sure that your invoice reflects it, and we'll get that taken care of for you.
Very cool.
And
Awesome.
Randy's
Yeah.
got some.
I was going to
Got
ask
some
him a
prints.
question about
He's
labels.
been offering up showing them tonight for anybody who didn't see those.
Oh yeah,
We'll get Randy to show those in a little bit.
I will.
We did it. We showed them, I think, while you stepped away, Ken.
Okay.
Yeah, I showed him once. People may want to be refreshed on that, later on.
Yeah.
But I had a question for your friend there about CGC and gold labels. I've at least read enough to know that as an artist, I can do the creator signature agreement and crack something, crack like a blue label, draw a picture on it, and submit the paperwork. And as long as the person send it to me and doesn't touch it, the CGC will grade it and label it. But I wasn't sure if I could do it on yellow on the gold labels. I've done it on the blue and it's been fine. Does he know?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the last part of that. You had cracked it, you're drawing on it, and then you're submitting it, and then what's happening?
Well, for them to regrade it, and it's been, without getting the ugly green label, it's been okay so far with a blue label, for me to do that, as long as the person that owns it doesn't touch it, as long as it's just the artist, and then I'm submitting the paperwork, and then CGC contacts them and bills them accordingly. But I haven't done it with the yellow, with the gold label yet, so I don't know if that's okay or not. I don't know. I should call them, I guess.
Yeah, that's I believe Spencer over there is the guy that's now doing the signature series stuff over there. He was, at least when I left there 2 years ago.
Okay. That's
Well,
what I'll
it looks
do.
like Larry started a Black Panther piece. Maybe somebody wants to claim it.
Well, maybe it's already claimed. You didn't ask Larry, did you?
Maybe.
Ken? Maybe somebody already has that.
Cool.
Did somebody claim this?
Yeah, sorry. Ken had to step away for a couple minutes there for some other stuff, so he didn't even notice that Larry blew through that awesome saber tooth, which we'd love to see, Larry, if you want to hold it up to the screen just so the recipient can get a good look at it. Look at that.
All right.
Look at that.
That's great.
Boom. And then if anybody's interested in this, Larry, is this up for grabs? This Black Panther?
Yep.
There you go.
If
anybody's
anybody's to claim
interested
the
in
Black Panther, or we can throw up another.
Or we can do this, right, Ken?
I told Larry that Hulk piece that's up there on the claim spot, I had to give to another collector. So I got to get another piece from him at MegaCon. Annika, if you take this Black Panther, yes, you can certainly claim again if you'd like.
I'm just surprised nobody's claimed yet.
Yeah, where is everybody? They're all on vacation or something.
I don't know.
You know what? There's a new show that's on tonight, and it might be stealing a little bit of our thunder.
What's that?
Actually, it's actually not a new show. Oh, we got a claim. Chris Bacon wants to claim a Wolfsbane from Larry, and he definitely got in. Wow, you guys must have some slow internet, everybody. So that's just crazy. But yes. Is there anything special about this Wolfsbane that you want to have done, Mr. Bacon? Just let me know. I can let Larry know. And yeah, very, very cool. Sorry, Mr. Curtis, you were just a hair behind Larry, but both you guys, wow, it was like a good 40 seconds after we offered that. So I'm wondering how long the delay is.
Must be a bad delay.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, Annika, if you want to claim this Black Panther, it does not exclude you from doing a future claim. This is like an already kind of done piece. So if you want it, it's yours. Otherwise, we'll open it up to anybody else. But I'll give you right of first refusal on it if you want it. Yeah, Chris says his internet keeps breaking up on him really bad.
That screen looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm putting a lot into it. You know, it's hard not to when you have that much hair going on. All these. It reminds me of doing Predator. I did plenty of Predator over at Dark Horse, and that's kind of what we got going on here. You know, it's like the Predator hair.
You said Wolfsbane?
Wolfsbane.
Yeah,
Yes.
Wolfsbane, yes. Hey, Annika's going to
Okay.
go ahead and Annika's taking that Black Panther off your hands there, Larry. So,
Okay.
done deal. Very cool.
All right.
Let's see.
I got to do a Carnage Venom, right? That's the next one. So I better get rolling here.
No, you're good. And don't ever try.
Sorry, Jeff.
So, Randy, do you ever practice? I stopped practicing a long time ago.
Practicing what? My guitar?
No, sketchbook.
Oh, what I did for a long time, I mean, remember for 13 years, I did teaching. So,
Right.
it's like I did classroom instruction with cartoon characters, manga characters, superheroes for kids, and then we did those camps for 13 years where Marvel and DC and Archie and Dark Horse they sponsored us, and we did characters every day. We did sound effects posters, we did covers, and then we did like a 2-page strip. So I taught a lot of structure and drawing and layout and design and all that kind of stuff. And that actually made me better. It's like you get better when you have to teach it. It's like you actually look at those books, the ones you should have been looking at.
Well, I did a after school teaching thing for a little while, and I remember while I was doing it, it was making me learn a lot about what I had been doing. I'm like, I never thought to do that way. Them kids will give you ideas for stuff, and I'm like, I never would have thought to do that.
It's true. I mean, and a lot of times they have great ideas. I mean, kids would go, "Can we draw this?" Or they go, "Great." Or it's a gaming character. Maybe I don't know much about the gaming character, so then I have to go research it, and figure it out, deconstruct, construct.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot about gaming by way of dealing with those kids because I know nothing about that stuff.
I know. I mean, I don't know how people can spend the amount of time that they do gaming. It's like I don't have that much time in my day. It's like, I can't do it. Let's see, where's that gizmo? I'm done here, so I'm just trying to find something to sign with. Where's the?
I was talking to an artist once, and they were telling me about not feeling that they were as good as they probably should be and all that kind of stuff. So when I said, well, what do you spend your day doing? And the person pretty much spent their day playing video games. I'm like, listen, you gotta.
Good.
You got to make a choice. You're either going to be an artist or you're going to be a champion at video games. That's because one of them has to take a long time.
Well, what I do, I'm a musician, so I've been a musician for like 50 years, but seriously for about 25. And I've been, since I didn't have to do comics, I was able to really get into playing jazz. And that's an intellectual pursuit that requires tons of practice. So that's where all my practice time goes.
Right.
Improvising or learning new chords or learning how, I'm doing some solo arrangements now for nylon string and some standards, and I get to sit in, if there's a jam session, but music is where my focus really is, and doing this kind of stuff. It's fun to draw and do.
You said jazz is pretty much what you're into?
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of the other kinds of music earlier in my career, in my life.
Hey, do you know of a guy named Stanley Jordan?
Oh yeah, the way he does the guitar is totally unique.
Now, when I used to, before I got into comics, I was sitting in front of the public library in New York City, and drawing, doing portraits and all that kind of stuff. And Stanley Jordan used to come in. He would set up down maybe about 30, 40 feet from where I was at.
Wow.
And this was before he even had a record deal. And I kept saying, man, that guy is good. And it was really unique to see him sitting there playing the guitar like he was playing two separate guitars.
Yeah, I mean, he's using both hands, on the fretboard, and a lot of people do that now, but he was really the first guy to make it, a big deal. That was
right.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So Ken, I had to jump off there for a second. Did we get a claim for Randy? Did I miss one?
I think it's
for Randy. Yes, we did.
It's a half Carnage, half Venom. Is that right? Split face, or did you have another one?
That was somebody who was asking a question about that. We didn't have a live claim up when that one came
okay.
up. I think Annika got the claim, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah.
Ken, hold on. Ken, can you check that for me? I'm sorry, I had to drop off again. I was something was going on with my microphone.
I don't think anybody claimed Annika, so you're up if you want it.
Yeah, I think Annika said that she'd go ahead and take. She said, where is she said? Where is it? No, I can't see anything.
Annika, just type it out.
Yeah, let's see. Annika, it should be you. If you were the only one I saw afterwards. So, yeah, she said, "Can I get a Spider-Gwen with her hood, but not the mask part?" Okay. So you want to see Gwen's face, but you want the hood. Okay, that's cool.
So it's a Gwen Stacy with a hood.
Pretty much.
No Spider-Gwen face on it.
Yeah. No. No mask.
Okay.
Jim, hang out. When he's done with this one, you can claim next.
I will go to here. Hang on for a second. Let's see.
So here we got a break here. We were talking about this earlier. This is that Kevin Nolan book that I said does not look anything like Kevin Nolan inks. It's pure Jim Lee, and that's the only time I've ever seen him ink anything that didn't where his pencils didn't just overpower the book. So that was issue 273, and that's the one that Larry did the last 2 pages in, which I love. These are Larry's pages right there. Look at that. Beautiful stuff.
All right.
He did that one.
So you can see
people at different points would say they would take books like that and they would say, "Oh, this is the first time that the Image guys got together and pretty much worked on a book, pretty much all at the same time." But there was actually this humor book that Marvel used to do called "What the."
Mm-hmm.
And that one, the one that I worked on, was actually the first one. It was actually the first Image collaboration, because I think Eric Larson did something in it. I think Jim Lee did something in it. Scott Williams, Louis Papasio.
Mm-hmm. So is this Spider-Gwen that I'm doing? Is this the young girl, not the older Gwen Stacy, but the young girl Spider-Gwen? So they don't look necessarily like the old one.
Yeah, no, it's a younger one. It's like, I guess she's like sort of a teenager.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I was showing that page behind me that of yours, Larry, that I had to replace the bubbles on, and they turned out pretty good.
Right.
So we have a creative team here. Tell us some stories about when you guys worked on Alien Legion together.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
Well, I remember the one day, because me and Randy haven't really talked about this since. But I remember the one day when I was telling the editor that I wasn't that crazy about some new experimental style that Randy was doing.
Right.
And I remember when Randy called me, I was like asleep. So when I said hello, man, he was cussing me out on the phone. Talking about, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't like my new style? This doesn't even make any sense. I'm doing great stuff here. And I was like, I don't even remember what I said. All I remember was I was half asleep.
I'm not a cusser. I wouldn't have cussed you out. I wouldn't have cussed you.
No, when I say cuss you out, I don't mean swearing. You didn't swear.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No. And that was the only negative. That had been the only negative. Other than that, you know, I was feeling kind of bad when he actually left the book. You know.
Well, you know, that was, like I said, I was on the book first with Chris Warner, and that was my first gig. And actually, you know, we put, I had a deadline that was already in trouble, and Will Sportasio was inking it, and he had Scott Williams helping him, and they still couldn't get it done. And so I was supposed to ink 7 pages. I ended up doing 11, and so they lost the job, and I got the regular gig. And so then I had done it for a few issues, and then Larry came on when Chris went to doing Moon Knight, and we were still doing Doctor Strange, Chris and I. So it was like, it was a chance when I looked at Larry's stuff, it was like, hey, it's commercial art time. You know, I was looking at, I love Bill Sienkiewicz and all that stuff he was doing. And Larry's stuff was very commercial art, very open. You know, he was using all sorts of images. He was doing montages. And so I thought this is a chance to experiment with the brush and with textures and zipatone and spatter. And you know, Carl Potts is an artist. And he goes, yeah, go for it, Randy. So I did. And it worked out. It was good.
You know, it's weird. My whole train of thought back in those days was in the early days of being in the comic industry. I never wanted to fit in. I never wanted to do what I thought everybody else was doing. I always felt that if I had any chance of surviving in the business, I had to do something that was kind of different. And I was grateful for the fact that I had the opportunity to do that for a while.
Yeah, that was a cool book. I mean, it was great. Like we said,
it's still my favorite comic book that I've worked on.
All right.
Yeah. And you said
as a series.
Yeah, and you said you think Randy's probably inked you more than any other inker, right?
Probably, I think so. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, we did
most of the other things I've been on never lasted any more than a few issues.
You know, I mean, the early stuff when I was inking Larry, I tried to ink it, you know, more like the Frank Sirocco stuff and, you know, the Terry Austin and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, hey, you know, this isn't working. Trying to force, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. It just didn't work. So that's when I got really loose and started exploring, you know, different kinds of brushes and textures. And that's when it got fun. Then it got to be fun.
I think I was one of those kind of artists where it seems like whatever the inker was set out to do, it kind of changed when they inked my stuff because, you know, a lot of times I was doing stuff that not a whole lot of people were doing, not necessarily trying to specifically do that. I was just doing what seemed natural to me, which was just simply to do stuff that was kind of different.
Uh-huh. Well, and it was different, you know. And you came out of what's his face, Neil Adams Continuity Studios, kind of. Did you do some work over there for a while?
Oh no, I never did anything for them then.
Oh really? Okay.
No,
okay.
I did a couple of issues of a couple of their books years later, but I didn't have any interaction with Neil Adams.
I thought you did. I thought you were, because, you know, what's his face? Our editor, Carl, did. I mean, he worked there. He and Terry,
right.
They worked for Continuity.
No, I actually didn't even meet Neil until some years later. He walked up to me at a show and said he wanted me to do some work for him.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, that's a compliment. You know, if you get Neil to ask you to do something, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did like that, by the way. He came to my table in San Diego and literally came to the table, picked up the pages, and said, I really like this stuff. He said, you guys are doing great stuff. And I don't know if it's because he knew you or whatever, but, you know, I got complimented by Neil Adams, so it was like, made my day, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely probably could have retired right then.
Yeah, sure. Well, I wasn't making enough money to do that,
Yeah,
but it was coming. The money was coming soon.
yeah.
Yeah, it was, like I thought about going to Image with Eric Larson. He and I are friends, and he came from Bellingham, Washington, and I'm from Portland, Oregon. So I'd see him at all the local shows before he was ever in comics. He'd come down and go, I can draw. Let me show you. It's like, anyway, but I knew that once he got on a decent book, I might have a chance to move up a little bit. And so he invited me onto the SpiderMan book, and that was huge. I mean, it was like a life-changing experience. It's like, but it's all very stressful. I mean, everybody wants everybody else's jobs, and it's all very political, and it's painful. I mean, working under deadline pressure and editor problems and people screwing up all the time. It's it's not real romantic. Like everybody.
What ended up happening was that we kind of started off in the industry going backwards, because most people would love the opportunity to be able to work on a book where they pretty much have freedom to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Because the higher up you go, the worse it is, the experience of dealing with editors and stuff like that. I mean, when I got on X Factor, I was allowed to do almost nothing.
Okay.
Every idea I had, they shot it down. I mean, it was just almost nothing. I'm surprised that it even came out the way it did.
That's funny. Well, I'm not surprised. I got to ink a few fill-in issues of X Factor while I was waiting to take over G.I. Joe, which wasn't. I didn't want to do G.I. Joe necessarily because it's a toy book with 1 million characters. But
right.
if you do it, you get into the Marvel main line and you can get insurance. So like I got to have health insurance for my family and for myself. And if you do 12 issues, you had to do like a year. And then I think I told this before, is when the first royalty check came, it was like the space shuttle, like issue 65 of G.I. Joe. And they advertised it when they had the animated cartoon show. They would advertise the Marvel comic, and especially if it tied into a toy. And it would go, buy the Marvel comic, and it would come zoom up on the screen. Sales would go up like 200,000. And the royalty check was like $3,000, and it was like, holy smokes, I guess I'm staying on this book, This is okay.
The only problem back in those early days with the royalty thing is when you got it, it was usually like 10 months later.
That's right.
And then as time went on, the royalty checks got quicker and quicker,
And that was the advent of the direct sales market in those stores. That's what changed all of that, really, was direct sales. But what was good about it, I guess, is that if you stayed on the book for 12 months, then those royalty checks came every single month because you caught up, and it's like here they came. Every month I got my regular check and I got a royalty check, and then I got original art to sell. And so it was like getting paid 3 times. It was really great. Those were the good days. Let's face it, those were pretty good days. Yep. Anything else on her? Not really. I wish she had more than white. That's the problem with that costume. It's just a bunch of white.
You can put her in shadow if you want to. You can play around with it a little bit. Annika liked that.
You gotta get some webbing.
Yeah.
So you gotta get the inside of the hood. Otherwise, it's like no webbing at all. It's like, come on.
No, the secret to doing the characters that have the white costumes is you just put other stuff in the background.
Yeah, okay. Well, I wasn't planning to do a lot of backgrounds. Okay.
Yeah, I did an Emma Frost commission, and I just didn't know what to do with her, and then I just started throwing stuff in the background.
And that works. That works good.
Yeah.
So Ken, who is Facebook user? Is that Avi? I can't tell because it says Facebook user.
I think it's Oranga. I'm waiting to see the.
Yeah, Oranga should know better. He should know how to hit that link in that gives StreamYard permission to read his name and come back on. So, everybody's saying it's Oranga, but I could, as soon as you said Chris Bacon and Shade, I was pretty sure I knew who it was. But you know, I figured Orango would know better, that he's got to, you know, give StreamYard permission to read his name. But, you know, maybe he just doesn't like to type his long name in or something. I don't know.
Oranga's spidey sense was tingling. He knew bacon was messing.
I was gonna say he sounds like a movie character. He doesn't sound like a real person. Oranga.
Oranga's gonna be a guest host with us in a few weeks because Jeff's got some family in town, and
yeah, as much as I would love to abandon my entire family to be on here for what's supposed to be 2 hours, but inevitably always runs longer. I had to make other plans. So yeah, Orango is going to come on, and
we love Annika. We'll have her back on. I just wanted to diversify myself a little bit.
Sure, and we don't want to always assume that whenever I can't show up, Annika can just, you know, pop in, and we want to make sure that she's able to get pieces too, like she did tonight. And that's the one thing. If you're on this end, you can't, you know, get the stuff on the other end. So,
well, I'm glad for her. I thought I was doing a Carnage Venom, you know. That's like, apparently, people that watch your show don't know about the movie. Apparently,
actually, Randy has blanks too. He might be able to do stuff on if anybody's interested.
I do. I buy them from a store that I know the owner. I usually do free comic book day for him. So I usually have a pretty good collection of blanks. Got a lot of SpiderMan 800s. Those are pretty popular for people that want to have stuff. Amazing. That is amazing.
So are we charging extra for the blanks? What are we doing for the blanks?
Oh, I just charged $20 to cover my cost of the blank.
Sure. How much was that again? I'm sorry.
$20 per blank to cover my cost.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Unless it's blank, you know, I'm not going to give away the Absolute Carnage Red for $20. I just did 2 of those, and the guys supplied them. Hey,
listen, I'm going to give everybody, the next time Randy comes up, I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes to claim, because you guys have been waiting way too long to claim for Randy. If nobody claims, I think 2 minutes will cover anybody's lag. If anybody doesn't claim, I'm getting a piece from Randy. I'm getting it on a blank. So you guys better have your fingers ready to claim, because I'm not letting this claim stuff sit around for as long as we've been letting it sit around for him. So
you saw some of the blanks that I have, or do you have blanks that you want to use?
No,
your blanks, yeah.
You have your own blanks, probably. You know, I've got like I don't know, Amazing 25, and you know, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Clone Saga. Amazing 800. I don't know, 2 or 3 other ones.
Oh yeah, no, Amazing 800 would be the one I would choose.
That's pretty good. It's pretty cool. That's the one I bought the most of.
But once again, I've got to give everybody else first chance. But you know what? There's only so much that I can do when I want to get.
You know, I'm pretty slow tonight. What time is it? 5. Jeez, it took a long time to do 3 drawings. What's wrong with me?
Well, like I said, some of those we didn't jump right out and give you a quick claim. Plus,
that's
like I
true.
said,
there were a lot of commercials too.
Yeah, you can't measure exactly.
And plus, I was talking too much.
Yeah, no.
What's up with that? You know, I didn't invite him on. What's the deal? You know, this guy on here. Jeez.
No, I said never try to keep up with Larry. This guy can he can outduel the best of them. We did a quick 5-minute sketch between him and Javier Avila and David Williams. Oh, he was done. His piece was finished in less than 5 minutes, and the other guys barely even got started. It was crazy.
And that's great. I didn't know that Larry had that kind of. I haven't watched him draw enough, you know, live. But you've got to envision the whole thing. You have to see it. You know, I mean, you can do a little exploring while you're drawing and stuff, but still, you have to have a pretty good idea what you're doing. You know, you can't just go.
You know, it's just those years. Those years of fighting against deadlines. You figure out stuff quick.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I got David's 5-minute sketch in. I got David's 5-minute sketch in this week, and I put it up for auction. And all the proceeds go to Heroes. And we raised $150 thanks to Larry Toon, who bought the piece. So $150 for Heroes. And when I get Larry's piece in a few days, we'll put that one up. And then Javier's piece is on its way. We'll put that one up. And all the proceeds will go to Heroes Initiative.
That's a good thing. Yeah, I'd donate something to that if you want.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
Well, you know what we can do is, maybe after we knock these two out, we could do a 5-minute sketch duel. What do you think, Larry? Now here's what we do if we do it. Even the field, Randy, is we allow you to, we want you to do it. We want you to, be planning on being finished in around 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you don't get it finished, you can take a little time and kind of tweak it a little bit afterwards, because that's what David did and that's what Javier did.
Well,
obviously
you can call time, right? And the winner.
I wasn't really looking at the one that David did that night because of where my phone was placed.
Sure.
So when I saw it later on, I'm like, I know he didn't do that in no 5 minutes.
No.
He spent 5 minutes on the hand alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
So I think that what we should do is, I think maybe we should do one of those, since you guys look like you might be done around the same time.
No, I don't want to do one of those tonight.
Yeah, we can save it for another time.
Yeah.
I can donate. I could donate some signed prints. I mean, that's easy on us. It's like I can do an original too. Do that one, at a different time or place. But yeah, I understand, Larry. I get it. Okay, let's see if I can get some gray on here. I got this warm gray from Prismacolor. This ought to be enough to make it look like something.
There you go. That's cool. Very.
Okay. So this is for Annika. And she's somebody that actually does work for you. She does some things. She helps out. Is that right? I guess you don't hear me, huh?
Ken, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
I was just going to say, who is Annika? I don't know.
She's in the group right now, watching right now live, but she comes in and guest hosts if we're doing a night that I can't do or a day that something happens. She's been nice enough to come in and fill in and do a little guest hosting for us. So she's a great collector and just a great person, and she's wonderful. We love her. So congratulations on getting this piece.
I think I got it. I think I'm good. Get on to the next fun thing. Okay.
Boom. Well, let's see.
You want me to, does Annika want me to personalize it to you?
Let's see.
Do that. Or just sign it. Either way.
We'll probably have to wait like 40 seconds to get a response to that. Hold on. And then we had a claim earlier, but I think they were claiming. Yeah, Michael, we're not doing a claim for Larry yet. So this claim is for
Larry.
Randy.
What the heck? Larry claimed.
So,
oh, gosh. Larry's popular. They know him.
She said just sign it. Yeah, you can just sign it.
Okay, I will.
Excellent. So, all right. So Randy has a sketch opportunity here for somebody if anybody wants
Jim
it.
claimed it. Jim Keller claimed it.
Oh, Jim got it? Oh, I missed that. How did I miss that? Where is it?
Okay, Annika. Is it okay?
Randy claimed Randy. Awesome.
Does it look okay, Annika?
That's gorgeous, man.
Okay. All right, good.
So what's Jim getting his half and half face now? What's he getting?
He said instead of a half Carnage, half Venom, he wanted to go to half Venom, half Carnage.
So what is that? Left and right side? What? The tongue goes on one side.
Yeah.
So is he going to do it?
He wants the top half Venom, the bottom half Carnage.
What?
No,
I'm just kidding.
Really?
No.
That's weird.
Oh my God.
Well, it might work, but it just look weird is all. You're welcome, Annika. Thanks for being part of the show. You know, when what's his face was on here, John Romita Jr. Did he do the live part, or did he just take orders, take a list?
We didn't have John Romita.
We didn't have John Romita Jr. No.
Okay, he just did a list of sketches and did a ton.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did it like a live client. Yeah.
I mean, I know he's fast though. I mean, he's really.
Oh yeah, he's super fast. But he did something with one of the other companies, and yeah, they took an unlimited list for like 24 hours, and I think he did the first time they did it, he did about 200 and almost 300 of them.
Oh my God.
So, and he knocked him out in about I want to say less than 2 months. Everybody got theirs, so it's pretty interesting.
That's incredible. That's he's amazing. Hey, well, while we're killing time, if nobody's got one, these are some of the prints that are available. The rejected cover to 361, and that's from the original work that I had, the artwork. So the coloring's old school, but it's kind of cool because it preserves kind of the quality of it. That's one of them. This reboot with what's his face with Venom and in place of Carnage for 361. That was kind of a fun one. That was inked with Copics. This is digital, but it's Doc. And I love doing Doc. I mean, I love Ditko. It's funny. I liked Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and it was like I got to do those two comics. How did that happen? I have no idea. And this one, of course, which everybody knows, is pretty popular. It's got all of the three. I call it the Three Amigos. Let's see here. Here's even a Deadpool. You said Deadpool. Is Deadpool legally part of the Spider-Man unit? Well, he's made guest appearances, right? So of course people go, you have to do a Deadpool. So I did. I've got a Deadpool here it's called the grunge background Deadpool. So it's got paint splatters on a wall and whatnot. It's got the logo with the bullet holes and all that kind of stuff. So it's
very cool.
It's kind of a cool one.
Awesome.
Here's of course Carnage in his glory. Again, it's lots of goo and digitally colored. That was based on a drawing that actually we did for a graphic novel. I think it was a collection is what it was. This was an experiment. Here's one that was it was all pencil, and so we decided to do kind of a duo shade architectural drawing for the buildings, and then color the character and even add the black line and make the webbing white. Using a digital, but it was a pencil drawing originally, so it was kind of fun to do something different. Working with a friend of mine who's better than I am at Photoshop, so it was kind of fun to do that. Here's the two guys, Scarlet Spider and Spider-Man, the Clone Saga, which some people hated. I mean, it was supposed to be 6 months, and it turned out to be a year and a half. So I mean, we were tired of it too, but. Scarlet Spider still has a ton of fans. This is kind of a cool one, based on a drawing we'd done before, Stephen Butler and I. So it's got Spider-Man, and it's another digital one. This one's colored with markers, but it's kind of cool. The pose is cool. It was from I think we had a double-page spread that was similar pose, and I thought that's a dynamic. It's kind of a Jack Kirby. And then here's Bagley and I did this Ultimate Venom. As a commission just for a guy, and I had it colored by Steve Lydek, who's good with those Copics. He's good. If you can get things to look metallic or kind of that gray, that's kind of cool. So here's the more recent one. This is based on the movie poster kind of to the third Spider-Man. So instead of the black costume, this guy wanted that. Somebody said, "Hey, is that Gargoyle Beta Ray Bill?" And I didn't realize it. I looked at it, I go, God, it could be. It does look like a horse or something. He's like, what is that? I just did it not really knowing that's what I was doing, I guess. And then there's one with in Jurassic Park or the Savage Land or whatever you call it with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Kind of a Todd McFarlane pretzeled out Spider-Man. And then this is the last one is one that Eric Larson and I did. It's just based on a commission. Spider-Man and Venom, but we've changed the tongue a lot. We like to do the tongue different ways now. It looks like a carpet, instead of a big, hose or something. Anyway, those are there. You can inquire about those. They're just $25. So, and if you get a drawing and you want those thrown in, we'll probably discount it because we're going to be shipping it anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
actually had.
Let's see. So it looks like I think Rob might have to go. So thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about the PGX and the opportunity to get some art protected.
Absolutely.
You guys, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's pgxeast.com. So we have Daniel, my business partner, has pgxcomics.com. I have pgxcomicseast.com. Like I said, I got a new boutique store opening up for this next Wednesday on Venice Island, and it's going to be a submission center, drop-off, pickup place for PGX Comics, and it's also going to be graded comic books sold on the day of release.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, it's going to be a great thing. I'm telling you, man, it's gonna. I think people are going to blow up and use it quite often.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be fun. And so thank you very much, buddy, for coming on, and I look forward to hanging out with you, bringing you a lot of art to archive for us.
Hey, likewise. Thanks, you guys, for the opportunity, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll see you down the road at the Comic Cons.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Have a good one, sir.
Yep.
You were talking about Steve Leidick, Randy. I just saw Steve at a show this weekend, and I brought him my Ron Wilson Joe Fix-It.
Oh yeah,
And had him
that's cool. Yeah, Steve did some awesome Copic work for me. I don't have all his gear, but man, he did a Thor that was just amazing. It's you see the sky and stuff on it, and I don't know. He probably did a dozen of work. He worked on it, and they look great. The prints look really great.
Yeah. So you, Ken, you said that Randy's got we got something he's doing now. He's doing the half Spider-Man, half Venom, or
yeah,
the Venom,
half Carnage, half Venom.
Oh, I didn't know that was a go. Okay,
Yes, yes.
We're good this time. Sorry.
Yeah, let me know that. All right, so who am I doing that for?
It's
Jim.
Jim Keller.
Jim Kettle?
Keller.
Keller. Okay, Keller. All right, Jim. So is it?
I know that guy.
You said it's half. Wait a minute, I got to get this right. It's half Spider-Man, half Venom.
No, half Venom, half Carnage.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you want Venom on the left and Carnage on the right, then probably.
I think he was joking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right, whatever works. I think that works pretty good. It's not a bad. I've done it either way, so it's like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
All right. See if I'm okay. I get it down.
Is that a Ranga again? I man,
Probably.
somebody teach that guy how to sign into StreamYard, would you?
Actually, I think I'll do it the other way around. I can sense I feel the jaw moving over here.
Larry, you still there?
Yep.
Okay. Are you ready? You want to do another one, or are you good? What are you doing? What are you thinking?
I guess I could do another one.
Looks like Hanukkah got it. Jeff, you make a noise?
Hmm?
All right, Hanukkah, you got it, kid.
What's he getting?
Jeff, every time I do one of those billboards, Jeff's mic goes silent, so he's got to reboot.
Let's see. Yeah.
So it looks like Hanukkah is giving you artist choice, Larry, either Hella or Silk.
Who?
That's another popular one. Silk.
Let me see. Who is Silk?
Silk is in the
Asian
Spider-Man universe
version of
woman.
kind of a Spider Girl, Gwen Stacy. I know Spider Gwen. I think they appeared together, didn't they? Something. It's got a kind of a cool costume.
Oh, okay.
Get some
I guess I'll
reference.
do her.
Get some reference.
I guess I'll do Silk.
So I changed my name.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm saying all this stuff and I'm muted. Karma.
Yeah, exactly. You like my name change? Doesn't that work out well for you? Yeah, I don't know why every time you go out to do the sketch claim, it comes back and I'm muted because I don't touch anything. But I think Ken's
Maker,
just,
you didn't get skipped, did you?
He's just cutting you off.
Yep, purposely.
Okay.
So I missed out. So what's Larry drawn?
Silk.
A silk. Okay. Yeah, I had to go out and come back in again.
Boy, last night we had a lot of trouble with audio and video.
Yes, yeah, we had like a little rock star moment going on last night with the reverb coming from the microphones. That was crazy.
My wife walked in. She just got home, and she was like, "What's going on? It sounds like weird music. What are you playing up there?" Feedback.
We didn't skip you, Michael. I didn't see a claim.
No, listen. How it works is that what it is they put when you claim something in your own stream, it puts you right at the top because it wants you to believe that your claim is getting immediately in there. We see the actual order that stuff comes in, so it depends on how fast your internet is to when it comes in, and I like I said, we can show you that. Hold on, let me go back down here and find it. We can show you the first one that we saw was.
You should have them call in.
Yeah.
Dialing for dollars.
Literally, the one we got was Annika, and then we got Steven was right behind her. Unfortunately, he was too late, and then Ari, and then we had you, and then, yeah, and Jim had already got the claims, so I don't know what he was. I don't know what's going on with this hobgoblin thing that he typed in here. Do you know what that's all about, or was that?
That's something I've done a lot of. A lot of hobgoblins.
But yeah, that's the order that those came in, Michael. So I'm sorry that it looks like you got skipped, but I swear we don't. There's no preferential treatment. It's just the way that it pops up.
Dang it! That hobgoblin would have been fun to do. Okay. I'll just have to hurry up here.
But yeah, Randy's going to stay with us as long as as long as Larry and Randy want to keep. As long as they want to keep drawing, we'll keep letting them draw. But like I said, we're not guaranteeing they're going to stay on.
When my wife yells at me and goes, "Get out of here! It's time for dinner," it's like, okay, that's probably it. I'm done.
All right.
We are going on vacation this Sunday, so it's like this is the last big deal I get to do here.
All right. Where are you headed on vacation?
Over to Central Oregon. It's really beautiful. The Three Sisters are part of the Cascade Range, and it's on the Deschutes River, and it's kind of a resort, but you feel like you're away from things, and there's a lot of hiking, and you can bike and play golf and all kinds of stuff. You can do a ton of things out there. So we've been doing it for years.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
It will, because the weather, the weather here in Portland was 90s for the last 3 days. It's like, wow. Today was maybe 80s or something, but it's starting to get warm, which is maybe bad because of the fire. We had those fires last year that were pretty awful.
Well, let's see. Annika says she'll be in Portland in the beginning of July.
Oh, yeah. That should be nice and warm then. I'm sure.
Stephen, thanks for hanging out, buddy. I know it's late over there. Stephen's in the UK, so it's 2:15 a.m. there.
Is it really?
Yeah. But Stephen's a trooper. He comes every Thursday.
I did a book for the UK. I did the Mr. T book for this. What was it called? Oh gosh, AC Comics or something. I can't remember. They had the license for Mr. T, and it was weird because being the inker, it's like you're always like a day late or something. By the time you turn it in, you're always late. When you get the pages, you're late.
Right.
Actually,
I got a new phone, and I can't set the damn thing up. It's driving me crazy.
What'd you say, Ken? Say it again.
I got a new phone, and for some reason it won't. It's an iPhone, and you're supposed to be able to just transfer the data from one phone to the other,
Mm-hmm.
and it won't transfer.
Oh.
So
That's
if
a
anybody's texting me out there and they're wondering why I'm not answering, it's because I have two phones that don't work.
that's not good.
I don't know. Earlier, you were doing some redecorating in your new room. That's the new 4C office, right, Ken?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to hang the art, as you can see. I was going to actually ask for some opinions about. See, I got some of the covers up around my
Your shield.
Captain
Yeah.
America shield, but I want to put these covers up. I don't know if I should put them underneath or next to it. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not quite sure how to do it yet. I was showing Randy some of my stuff when he came out. I showed him my Herb Trimp.
That was pretty awesome.
Oh, the transforming Hulk. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece.
I mean, did you buy that directly from him? Was that a commission?
No, I bought it off of Ramita Man.
Oh, right, of course, the Romita Man. It's like that guy, Mike Berkey. It's like,
Mike Berkey. Unfortunately, Herb Trimpe was passed away before I got into the collecting. So.
Oh, okay.
But I am a big fan of his. You know, I remember his art when I was growing up, reading the Hulk. Because the Hulk was my favorite book, and
his Hulk is my favorite Hulk.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, he was actually the artist who got me back into collecting. Because I collected huge in the 90s, and I got out of it in 94. And then it was 2011 where I went to a local comic book show. So I hadn't done it in almost, over 15 years. And all of a sudden I went to a show and I was like, well, I'm here and Herb Trimpe is here. I might as well get a sketch. And just like that, I was sucked back in. So
well,
now it's been 10 years strong of being back in. So
good. Good. We need those guys.
Yeah. You guys are like good. I'm like, my wallet doesn't thank me very much.
Yeah, get him addicted. Get him addicted to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that Trimpe period too. I mean, of course, I'm so old that I remember the Kirby Hulk, and it was like Frankenstein or something. It's like I always loved that giant Frank. I mean, the way Kirby could make mass on characters. I mean, it's believable. They look like their arms weighed a ton, and when they knocked a brick wall down, you believed it. You believed that was. And I just don't know anybody else that had that ability. Buscema's probably a better draftsman than anybody. I mean, but when he did that stuff, it was like too pretty and too detailed, and it didn't have the same force. And yet his stuff has weight, but it doesn't have that same Kirby weight.
Well, my one of my brothers always hated Kirby stuff, and I couldn't understand. And then one day he says, that guy that I don't like, the one that draws everybody looks like they're made out of rock.
Oh,
and that had never occurred to me.
But was it because he was like looking at the Thing and all of these other characters? I mean, it's like, did he really know comics, or was he just kind of halfway?
No, he liked some comics, so he wasn't like an expert or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirby's just, the more I learned about him, the more in awe I am. It's like what he's done throughout his career. It's just like, good grief. He was inventing things all the time, all the way back. Worked on newspaper strips and everything. Just crazy. Okay. And I always liked Ditko because he was so weird.
Yeah, that's the thing is Ditko was the weird one, and Kirby was, I mean, obviously the father of almost all the comics you want to think about it. But he's one of those guys that I think young people don't get, and then when you get older, you appreciate it, and then you see the genius that's in there. But when you're first looking at it, you see it's like, oh, look at those faces. They all look, they have that look to them.
They're kind of dorky, but you can see he looked at old movies, a lot of old movie characters and stuff. And it was. It was. I loved the Ditko anatomy too. Spider-Man's anatomy was dead on. It was so cool. You know, I mean, it wasn't overdone. It was always, you know, very meticulously. I mean, those poses that Spider-Man, you could actually look at those and go, "This is almost. You could do this." I mean, if somebody, a gymnast, could do this.
Right. And then, you know, Kirby's genius was you know, was being able to do the dynamic, like, you know, images. It was that's what made his so great.
And his perspective was amazing. His dynamics and he'd, you know, tilt the camera, show the ceiling. His abstract use of shadows. You know, he'd just throw those shapes on a wall, and it was like, God, how does he do that? What is that?
I love the abstract shadow things. I've been using that for years.
Yeah.
Shadow. I mean, it's like they're just shapes that don't even make sense.
No, but they do. You know, in composition, you go, oh, this complements that, and you know, it's just like, geez, it's amazing. He's miraculous. There's no question. There's so many things you can talk about. Just standing on this page, it is.
He's another one of those guys I never got a chance to meet. You know.
Hey, that is one of the things I'm so glad. When I was working on Spider-Man, and it was like in the heyday, it was early 90s, it was Jack Kirby's 75th birthday. And I'm not sure if that was probably 71, because he died in 76. So, yeah, in 91. 1991, yeah, and he died in 96. So I was invited, along with Frank Miller, all these other heavyweights. I mean, I was just, you know, hey, I'm lucky to be working on Spider-Man. And I got to, I don't know how it happened. It was at the party. I walked up, and it's Jack Kirby and his son, Neil, and it's Stan Lee and his wife, and maybe one other person I didn't know, and I'm there. And I'm sitting in this inner circle listening to Kirby tell war stories, all these World War II stories. And it was like I was spellbound. I got to meet him, and then halfway after I'd been standing there an hour, you know, and I probably said very little, Randy Stradley comes up, and he's like, you know, the senior editor at Dark Horse. And I knew Mike Richardson, the owner, from before he did he goes, Mike wants to meet Jack Kirby. Could you introduce Jack Kirby to him? He's like, I just met him. It's like, whatever, you know. Actually, that's not true. I did meet Jack Kirby when I was a sophomore in high school. I went to San Diego Comic Con. It was like their third one or something when they had it at that college campus. And Kirby had just gone over to DC with his Fourth World stuff, you know, all that stuff. And he was giving away all these portfolios and signing and doing sketches. And it was so, and my friend Chris, who I worked with on Doctor Strange, right? He won the inking contest. So he had to have breakfast with Jack Kirby.
Oh, my God.
It was an unbelievable, you know, for being sophomores in high school, we were on cloud nine, man. It was like,
wow.
We couldn't believe it. Yeah, so.
You know that party that you're talking about? I was at that party.
Were you? Okay.
Yep.
And then there was one on 5 years later, you know, and then, you know, it's like it's his 70th and his 75th. And then he died the next year after that.
Yep.
And that was, I guess, right in the middle of the 91. That was the beginning of probably what the Image guys were starting to split off or something.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing is I remember that they tell this story all the time about how, you know, they kind of like I think McFarlane wanted to see if Kirby would do something like, say, you know, in the Image books, it would say, you know, Jack Kirby presents, just like, you know, Stan did, as sort of another like punch in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And Jack said, you know, and so they talked to Roz, and Jack said, no, he doesn't want to do that. But he said, but he does, you know, he is rooting for you guys. And, you know, and that was kind of cool for them, I think, that he was in their corner.
He did. He said, these guys have their own dynamic styles. You know, he was like, he didn't want to put them down. I mean, like, look, Rob Liefeld, listen, it's debatable whether that guy can really draw or not. He's gotten better. He's like, hello. You know, if you know anything about art, it's like, no. But, you know, he was really kind. And that was Jack Kirby. He was kind and encouraging. He looked at Chris Warner's sketchbook at that breakfast, and he goes, you're gonna make it. And Chris did. But it was just like all positive. It was all positive.
Mm-hmm.
That was Kirby. He was a great role model.
Yeah. And Larry, you got to talk to Kirby, right? You've talked to him before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, quite a bit.
I'm super jealous.
Yeah. So where did you see him most?
Sometimes you meet those guys and you walk away with a lot, and then other times you meet them and it's no more than, oh, it was cool talking to him.
Yeah. Right.
So I didn't learn it. I didn't really learn anything when I met him. He was just a nice guy. We talked for a little while, and then that was it. But the inspiration that I got from him, from all the stuff I studied before then, was more than enough.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was a good storyteller, though. Remember that night. I don't remember a lot of specifics, but I do remember he told the story. Maybe he's told that before. It was about he was reconnaissance patrol. That's what he did, and he was in a village, and they were I can't remember if they were in Germany at that, was it toward the end of the war? Anyway, they were hiding in buildings at night because this a German I don't know what sized group it was of soldiers was coming through with soldiers and tanks, and they were literally didn't breathe. They were in these shops, behind doors and windows, and just hiding out while this procession of soldiers and vehicles goes through. And it was he told it well, and he goes, if you look hard enough, there's a story in anything. Like, okay, all right, Jack.
Wow, you can just imagine him saying that too. Just his voice, just his like,
he was using his hands. I mean, he was into it. It was awesome. No, I was blown away by him. He's a pretty dynamic guy.
Yeah, I figure there's some people that you meet where you don't realize how significant it is until, later. I just can't imagine meeting him and not just being, and not just immediately just being like, in awe. But obviously, if I had met him when I was like 17, when I only cared about like, McFarlane and Lee and, Liefeld and all those,
true.
it probably wouldn't have carried as much weight.
Well, at the time when I met him, the first time I met him, at that time I think John Byrne was like the most popular guy in comics, and I forgot Frank Miller was doing Daredevil, and a couple of other people were doing very popular books at the time.
Wow!
So when I walked into that show, I was looking for Kirby. That was the first one I went to find. So I'm looking. Then finally, I looked through this crowd of people, and him and his wife was just sitting at this table by themselves. There was nobody around their table. And I'm like, are these people here crazy? And that's how I was able to go over and talk to him for a long time.
That's nuts.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, I'm just glad I had the contact that I did. It was, it wasn't a ton, but it was enough to be impressive.
Yeah.
It's different. I mean, like you said, McFarlane was around when you were in your teens, and by that time, it's like I'm working in comics. And for me, it was being 7 years old and reading like Avengers #3 or something. I got it at a carnival, school carnival. It was comic books were like 5 for a quarter, and got Daredevil #1 and Avengers #3 and SpiderMan #4 or 5, and it was just amazing. It was I was blown out. It was like that was the beginning of the good days, because I had been reading DC, and DC was like might as well have stood for drab comics after that. It was so boring compared to the Marvel stuff, but Kirby had a lot to do with that. And if anybody hasn't read it, I'm pumping that book, Marvel Comics: The Untold Story by Sean Lowe or Sean Howe? I can't remember. But it's an excellent read, starting with, about when Stan Lee gets out of high school and starts working for Lieber, his uncle.
Right.
Quite a piece of...
No, Lieber was his brother.
Well, there was another Lieber, but this guy was his uncle, and he, was the publisher, and worked for a bigger company, but wow, he had a lot of power. And boy, you read it, it's pretty tough. He's a tough guy. He was pretty mean to people, the people that worked for him. It's like, wow. So it's amazing that so much stuff happened, because I don't think they didn't really like comics. They liked all of these other magazines that they published, and a lot of them were like men's magazines and stuff like that. And comics.
Well, comics was
garbage.
just like quick money for those guys. I think if they had any idea what it was going to turn into, they would have had more appreciation for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Stan Lee was always like, it was a stepping stone, right? He always wanted to write the great American novel or write for movies or, get out of the comics industry. But he did a lot, in the end. He and Kirby and those guys that helped. It was just a golden age, man. Those 60s were pretty amazing. The Marvel House of Ideas. 9 years of great comics.
Yeah.
There was an interview, one of the few interviews that I had ever seen of Kirby. He was at some convention. This was like 92, 93, something. I mean, I'm sorry, 72, 73, something like that.
Way before.
So different people were getting up and they're asking him questions and stuff. And then one guy got up and he says, Mr. Kirby, he says, I'd like to know, he says, who was it that forced you to put black people in your comic books?
Wow.
So Kirby said, nobody forced me to do it. He says, I just asked myself one day, why don't I have black people in my comics? And he says, and I didn't have an answer. He says, so I started putting black people in my comics.
That's awesome. That sounds like Kirby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember there was like a snafu, I guess, with what was it, the Howling Commandos, where he had drawn, obviously one of the characters was supposed to be black, and I think when the issue came out, they just colored him white just because they didn't.
Right.
They'd really had never put a black person in the comics, so they didn't even.
Gabe was supposed to be black. Right?
Yeah, and they just didn't even have a hue. So, and then in the beginning, it was almost like the first couple of issues where they actually shaded him correctly. Well, didn't make him into a white person. They actually just had him be gray because they didn't even have
exactly.
Yeah, I remember. No Black Panther was gray in the beginning too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, or it's either that or you turn him blue, right? Because black is blue in comics.
Right.
Superman's hair and everything else.
Right. Yeah, it was crazy that they didn't even have that. That's how misrepresented or underrepresented they were. As it was the fact that they didn't even have a color palette for that, which is just crazy.
That's funny. Well, he's a little ways, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, I eat all that stuff up. Anytime I ever hear anything about the Golden Age, and I've lost interviews and stories about that stuff, man, I can only imagine,
That's a good book. It is, because he interviewed so many people, and it covers all the way up to about 2013, when the movies and stuff were starting to take hold and all that. So it really is a pretty good overview. And a lot of course, personal information and stories from characters. Some good stories in there, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. That silk turned out great, Larry. Wow.
Yeah, it does look great. That is. That's nice. Larry. Nice job. Jeez, you blew me away, and I'm just doing a double headshot here.
Like I said, you can't measure yourself on trying to keep up with Larry.
Yeah, I guess not.
Well, I see a blank piece of paper there, Larry. Are you willing to put some more ink down on one?
Yeah, I'll do one more.
Michael, you did it. Can you hear me, Ken, or am I muted? No, now Ken's muted.
I muted myself. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're mocking me, aren't you?
Michael got it.
There you go. You got it.
Original Ghost Rider.
Michael got it. Yeah.
Because somebody was going to be doing a Ghost Rider tonight.
Yeah.
It's Randy's fault because he's supposed to be doing Ghost Rider.
No, he's not a Spider-Man. I want to do Spider-Man universe tonight. That's for another time, you know. I've already got actually a couple of commissions of Ghost Rider that I've got to do, and I was like, oh man, okay.
Yeah, I've done a lot of Ghost Rider commissions over the years. I never really understood that, you know, a lot of people want commissions, but I've very rarely heard people talk about the book itself.
I know what you mean. That's funny. And then there's Nicolas Cage, you know, the Ghost Rider. You know, he's a comic book fan, though. He has a big collection, apparently.
Oh, he's not even a fan. He named his son Kal-El.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! I didn't know that.
Yeah, he actually, I think he owns the most pristine copy of the Action Comics, the first appearance of Superman.
No kidding.
Yeah, he bought it for like millions of dollars. As far as I know, it's the most pristine copy that is known to be in existence. I'm pretty sure he owns that, or he did at one point.
It must be nice to have millions of dollars to do that.
You know, exactly.
Wow.
One of the advantages of being a movie star.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's done a lot of great work. I mean, it's like, geez, he's done a lot of movies. That's for sure. I was thrilled when I found out he was a comic book fan. I thought, this is cool. He's a real comic book fan.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was supposed to play Superman in the '90s.
Oh, that's right.
Right, Tim Burton Superman.
So what's that? I recently saw him in some suit, or is that pictures from that? It was like some muscle suit.
Oh yeah, it's got to be old pictures from when he was getting fitted for that.
I think they did a documentary about it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's probably what I saw.
Yeah, something like the death of Superman or something. I forget what it was called, but it's really cool. It tells you all that stuff and how, you know, what they were planning on doing with him and how it just, you know, I mean, they went all the way into fittings and all kinds of stuff, but it just
okay. So that's what I saw. Okay, yeah. That's cool. Oh,
that was before he was even doing any action movies. That was like Con Air and
really
The Rock. I'm pretty sure it was before he hadn't quite, none of those had been hit. You know, nobody realized he could play those kinds of action movies yet. He was still doing lots of the comedy and more serious stuff.
Oh, you just reminded me. I have to see that movie again.
Which one?
The Rock. The Rock.
Yeah,
exactly. That's a fun movie.
The scene with the shootout in the bathroom, that was like at the bathhouse. That was like one of my favorite scenes ever.
Oh yeah, listen, that was Jerry Bruckheimer and at his best, man. That was the
really, it was the good Jerry Bruckheimer stuff. True.
Yeah, but that was definitely the movie that made Nicolas Cage into an action star, even though he wasn't even supposed to be an action person in the movie.
Right. He was kind of supposed to be like an everyman.
Well, he was like a scientist. He was like
Jimmy Stewart type guy.
Yeah, and he just ended up having to, save the world, I guess is what you'd call it. I don't know. But
he's been in a lot of cool movies.
I loved him in Face Off with was it Travolta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was in a movie called Knowing. That was kind of a cool science fiction end of the world movie.
Oh yeah. I really dug that.
All about numerology and stuff. That was pretty cool. And he was a scientist in that one, right?
Yeah, that was actually really cool. It sort of kind of like reminded me of like Mothman prophecies, sort of like just this thing where it's just like as it all ties together, you're just like, holy crap.
I know, they pulled it together. I like the fact that the creatures had sort of an angelic look to them, but not traditional at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was still very space age alien look. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen these movies, they've been out for like 2 decades. So sorry for the spoiler.
Yeah, has it been that long? Jeez, make me feel really old now.
I know. That's. I mean, when you think about it, like I said, if in your head, when somebody tells you that, the 90s, 1990 was 30 years ago, it just doesn't feel like it was 30 years ago.
No, it doesn't, because the 90s was a big deal. It's like seems like that everything was exciting. The .com era. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to this young girl one day. At the time, I think she was probably like 19 or something, and she somewhere in the conversation she asked me what my age was, and I told her I was, at the time, I think I was about 40 something. So when I said that, she looked at me and she said, "Wow."
You're
She said,
really
"You
old.
was around when Martin
You're
Luther
really
King was alive." And that never occurred to me when she said that. I was like, that was a while back, you know?
It was. I mean, all of us, you know, I was around for all that stuff. The 60s, you know, I was there, man. That was my era, being a kid. It's funny, you know, I mean, it's rough, but it was a really great time.
Well, the thing is, I think that just in the time period of my conscious memory, you know, first man going to the moon, the computer age.
Think about it.
You know, just all kinds of new stuff. You know, microwave ovens in your house. And,
exactly.
You know, this is stuff that didn't exist before then. You know,
no, there was a lot of cool stuff. It's true. I mean,
These VCRs, HBO, cable itself. The fact that you weren't pigeonholed by just, you know, a
the whole,
television stations.
Being at the beginning of the internet era and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like young people that cannot believe that we actually existed at a time without cell phones.
Without cell phones and the internet, yeah, I know.
It's so crazy to think when you were younger and you used to like listen to older people talk and you're like, God, you guys are so old. And then now, you know, we're those people.
That's right.
And you know,
it's true.
I always tell people, I remember when I was younger, we used to make fun of Grady on Sanford and Son. And then one day I realized I'm Grady now. I'm that old dude with the gray hair.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. What, you have gray hair now? Gee. Wow. That's cool.
Well, my hair is white, actually. I've gone past gray.
I guess I did see a picture of you. Yeah. Well, that's very, you know, that's dapper. That's handsome and you know, debonair and dapper and intellectual and all that.
My mother's hair was pretty much all white. So I kind of got that from her.
Yeah. Well, you get a lot of girls, you know, with that white hair.
Yeah. Randy's beating them off with sticks, man. They're coming off.
Yeah.
You know, they love that white hair.
Don't tell my wife that. Although she really likes the long hair, so I have to keep it now. I'm going to actually get it cut professionally so that, you know, don't screw it up. So it's like it's you know, I cut the pandemic ponytail, but I still have tons of hair left. So
I was talking to my sister the other day, and she was telling me something about, oh yeah, you can just fix up this or fix up that. And she says, and get rid of the beard. I said, no, I can't get rid of the beard. And she said, why not? I said, I've got more people pay attention to me because of my white beard than ever.
That's great. I know, you know, I've had a beard since high school, and my wife has never seen me without one. Isn't that bizarre?
Right.
I mean,
I had a beard since I was 14 years old.
Okay. That tops me. I can't do that.
And one day I'll tell you some of the stuff I've been able to do having a beard at 14 years old. I got into places that most people could not get into.
That's true. You know, it helped me too because I was into jazz. So there were, you know, it was always, you couldn't go in because it was drinking, you know, it was like bars and stuff. But I got in. I got to see Dizzy Gillespie and all these people in person because, you know, I looked old enough and, you know, it's like I didn't even need the fake ID. It was like, okay, this is great.
Right.
I'm going. All right.
That's one of those kind of people that you meet and they're just kind of beyond being a legend. They just like something else. You know?
It's true. There's electricity. It's like an aura. There's like this energy thing going on, you know. It's kind of scary almost, you know.
I had a girlfriend who was telling me the story about I think we were talking about famous people who we met in our lifetime. So she was telling me the story about how her brother used to have this friend that would come over and visit every, a couple times a year, whatever. And the friend would go with her when she was young out to the back, and they'd be playing and all that kind of stuff. And then I said to her, I said, well, what was the guy's name? And she said, Bruce Lee.
Oh,
I said, you used to hang out, you used to play with Bruce Lee? And she was like, yeah. I was like, I could not believe it.
Wow, that is crazy. That's crazy, man.
So Randy, are you still feeling like doing a little more drawing?
I think 7 should be my cutoff. So I'll give myself. I think dinner is calling us downstairs, but let's call it. I got another 15 if somebody wants a quick head sketch or something. So there, did you guys see this one? See how it came out?
That's awesome. Jim's gonna be super happy with that. Wow.
Plenty of goop. Plenty of goo.
Gotta have the goo.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Throw something up there.
All
and if I
right.
don't.
All right, Ken, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, well then that's half the battle right there. All right, so we're doing one last claim.
Good.
One last claim for Randy. If anybody wants to get in on it, let us know. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes, and I'm going to jump on it like Ken on a piece of pizza.
Ghost Rider. Randy wants to draw Ghost Rider.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's like, can you draw Ghost Rider with a Spider-Man?
You have to analyze all of the spittle. That's you got your money's worth with the spittle.
Oh, definitely.
Can you draw a Venomized Ghost Rider?
I knew it. I was like, oh. Boy.
Yeah. Oranga, it's not rude. It's rude that you guys aren't getting more stuff from Randy. I'm like, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'll get it. That's why I'm here. I want this guy to be drawing. If he's not drawing for you, he's going to be drawing for me. So
that's funny. Well, you could probably make some money on this stuff coming up. You could probably make money on me.
Oh, I'm not doing it to flip. If I got something from you, it'd be for me.
No, I know. But if people are missing out on their opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it is people want other things other than the Spider-Verse.
See, but that's what I'm famous for. Randy drawing Ghost Rider doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like, I guess that's cool for them, though. If they want to keep.
Well, we've got lots of people that have like very unique collections that collect stuff that's just, it's certain characters or certain,
I know. I've done those where it's a whole sketchbook full of, it's like you can do your favorite superhero, but it has to be as a wood nymph. Or, it's like everybody's trolls in my book, but, you can do all the superheroes as trolls. It's like, oh, okay. Or like you said, Peter Parker with a cowl on. It's like, so everybody has to have a Batman cowl. I've seen some incredible
this guy was walking around in a show, and he had this sketchbook. And I think the theme of the sketchbook was like robots or something like that. So I'm flipping through the sketchbook. And then it was this one drawing that caught my eye because it looked so different than all of the other drawings in that book. So I looked at the name, and the name said McQuarrie. And I looked at the dude, I said, Ralph McQuarrie did this? And he said, yeah. I said, I have never seen a Ralph McQuarrie drawing in anybody's anything.
Mm.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was a robot that Ralph McQuarrie did for that guy.
Oh. I've seen people. There's a guy who just collects like toasters. He has all the famous artists draw toasters. I don't know where you would.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know where you come up with that, but it's like, all right, if that's what you like, if you like toasters, okay. If you want to spend $150 to get Neil Adams to draw a toaster.
Somebody emailed me and wanted me to do that.
Yeah.
It was like a couple of months ago. That's bizarre. And I said, well, it's going to cost you blah, blah, blah. Never heard from him again. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I had a guy who, I remember this guy back in the 80s who, his whole thing was, in his books, he wanted people to draw a picture of Batman kicking a can of Spam. And that's what every drawing was by all these different artists.
I like that.
Let's see. I'll claim if Randy is down for my idea. Ari,
Okay.
what's your idea? Tell us again. I think I already know what this idea is, but I want to hear it from Ari.
Is this
I
the
want
guy
him to
that
type
helped
it in.
you?
No, Ari's he's a good customer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy to know. He's a really nice guy too. Let's see. Ari wants. He wants. Okay,
Oh.
so he said, "Hear me out." He wants a zombie Uncle Ben. I mean,
So I can get real weird with it.
once again, Randy, totally up to you. You know,
Make sure you put a bullet hole in his head.
you might. How do you? I mean, do you want? Maybe you put a word balloon that's
Or
where
an
he's
axe,
like,
an
where he's
axe
like,
in his head or
where he's like responsibility.
was great. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's doable. That's for sure. I'd have to go back and look at a Ditko Uncle Ben. I have to look at him because he's got that kind of doofy, real. It's that thick face. That,
Sure.
And then you kind of mess around with it. But yeah,
Wow. This could end up being. He said, the weirder the better. This could end up being the Bosk of the night. Ken, you know what I'm talking about.
let me see here. Okay. I may not finish this thing on screen, but I will definitely finish it for him. So it's like, you can see me get started on it. Because my wife's probably going, listen, we're supposed to eat dinner here. It's like, they're getting late. I was like, all right. Okay. Let's see what they come up with. Uncle.
I love how he's like, okay, hear me out before you shoot me down.
Uncle Ben through the years. Let's see. Where is it? Click. Marvel. See what they come up with. Because, some of the other people that drew Uncle Ben, they just have no clue. They just, I mean, even Romita's is like way too happy and looks too youthful. And,
Romita can't draw people that don't look good. He just can't.
I know, it's true. His women were always beautiful and everybody else was happy and, handsome and stuff. And I like that about Ditko. It was all these weird character faces. Mm-hmm. Bizarre.
Larry, this Ghost Rider's hurting my heart.
We're wrapping it up. We are. It's like, yeah. Oh, I've been drinking. My wife's right here. I told you it's getting close to 7 o'clock. I'm drinking juice and water because I haven't really eaten much today. Did I eat lunch? I can't remember. No, I thought it'd be better if I didn't eat lunch. I didn't want to fall asleep, right? It would be a bad idea. I'm not seeing a single Ditko.
I never met her, but till I said hello.
That's Larry Stroman.
Really?
Yeah, say hi to Larry.
Larry? I'm Judy.
Hello, how are you?
I've known your name forever, so Randy thinks a lot of you.
Yeah, see, the secret's out. I like Larry. So you came over to our table at Rose City Comic Con, and Judy was standing next to me. I mean, she's always helping me at those shows. That beautiful blonde gal. I guess it was probably white hair then.
Right.
One of the kids, she was a teacher, so kids go something about, you have, what is it?
Our kids said that.
What about the teeth and the hair?
No, I don't think you need to say that.
White hair and yellow.
Okay, but wasn't that
yellow hair and white teeth? I can't remember.
Wasn't that the show that I met you for the first time in person?
I don't know. Was it? That wasn't that long ago. I thought we met down in San Diego or something. I can't remember.
How long did you guys work together before you met in person?
That goes back to my first year, 1980. What? Well, no, it isn't. 85 was my first year. So you started what? 87 or 80 thereabouts? Is that about right?
Wait, no, I started doing comics about it was about 85, 84, 85.
Okay, that's when I did. But I think we met in what 87 on Alien Legion. Sometime I think.
Oh, I don't remember.
I mean, when did you start Alien Legion? That would be it. That
was about 85.
Was it? Well, I mean, that's when I started, so it couldn't have been then. Because, I mean, I did it for at least, I don't know, a year with Chris. It was a bi-monthly book, so it was like 6 issues or something like that.
Right.
But so maybe it was next year. Maybe it was 86 or something like that. Oh, there's an Uncle Ben by Ditko, but it's not very good. It's not very exciting. Again, maybe I'll just be doing my own thing on it. You know, it's like it may not even look like Uncle Ben, but it certainly won't by the time I'm done with it. Let's see.
I told you, Randy, they come up with some weird stuff sometimes.
I guess these people must lay in wait.
We had a guy ask Jim Calafiore for Hagar the Horrible, and he asked him how he wanted to draw it. Did he wanted to draw it like the comic strip, or? And he said, "Yeah, draw it the way you want," and it came out so good.
All
Speaking
right.
of anybody who's got Jim Calafiore stuff, is sending me a package. It went out today, so I will have the 9x12s in a few days, and then I'll be shipping them out early next week.
You know, actually, when I'm at shows, it's those odd commissions are the ones I end up enjoying the most.
Yeah. I hear you. You know, did you? I'm looking at this picture here, and it's from Spider-Man Amazing Fantasy or whatever 15, and it's the policeman that's talking to Spider-Man. You know, he's going, "Hey," he goes, "What's up with you? You should have tripped that guy." Or held him up for a minute. You know, the burglar gets away. That guy, you look at the pictures, there's a couple of them. And somebody brought it to my attention yesterday. It looks like Stan Lee. And it's like Stan Lee of the future. Like when he has a white mustache, he's old. And you look at that policeman, at least in two of those pictures, like, it's Stan Lee. You know, Steve Ditko had like a take on Stan Lee already.
Wow. Yeah, I found this Uncle Ben. I don't know if that one's going to.
That's the one I'm looking at. Yeah. That's about the only one I'm finding. You know, it's kind of crazy.
I've got found one more. Hold on. Let me see.
I mean, I'm looking through a bunch. There he is, Stan Lee. We'll use him for Uncle Ben.
There's one more I got. That's it. That's all.
Oh, yeah, that one where he's standing next to him. That's the one I probably remember the most, you know. I'll find it. It's probably coming up.
You know, one of the things that I found which is interesting about when you're searching stuff is that
there it is, yeah.
If you slightly change up the name of what you're searching for, other things will pop up. Like instead of saying Uncle Ben, if you would put Spider-Man's uncle or something like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, other references would pop up.
I agree. I mean, there's tricks to it. You're right. If you want to find things, you got to figure that stuff out. A lot of times it's okay. Let's see. So I'll use that kind of basic thing just so it has some semblance of, you know, Uncle Ben before it gets weird. Yeah, he's got like a double chin almost, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy considering how influential Uncle Ben is to Spider-Man's origin. That there wouldn't be more Ditko Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like images out there. That's pretty crazy.
It is. I would have thought there were more. I mean, I just kind of surprised. And its hair is kind of just like this amorphous, nothing real great, you know. It's
Zombie Uncle Ben. Wow, this is going to be.
And I'm not even I'm not a great zombie artist because I wasn't a big fan of, you know, like everybody was into the TV show and zombies and stuff like that. It was just like, yeah, it just wasn't one of my things. Maybe when I was a kid reading Creepy and Eerie and all that stuff, I would have been more of a fan, but it was like, yeah. So it's like, I know you can take it to the nth. You can take it way out there. Some people love to see total gore, you know. It's like, I don't know.
There have been people that I know who are never interested in watching The Walking Dead because they thought that the movie was about zombies. And I said, no, it's not about zombies. I said, it's about how awful human beings are to each other.
Exactly.
I said, and then the zombie just happens to be the backdrop of the show.
You gotta take a few baseball bats to them, you know, and punch them and shoot them and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's actually been like 4 episodes too where there have not been any in the episode, like that's, which is, you know, kind of crazy that you.
And the thing is, when you have people talk about the show, they never talk about the zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's not the. I mean, that's what people always said. It's about the story of the people. You know, it's character driven.
Well, obviously, with what happened last year with coronavirus, if we did have a zombie apocalypse, the society would crumble just like that.
Yeah.
We even
Quickly.
when threatening a zombie apocalypse, we have people that are like, "No, I'm just not going to wear a mask. I'm good.
I know.
You know,
No.
that's fine.
What the heck?
Whatever." Like literally, it's like wear this or something bad could happen to you or your family. Yeah, you know what? It's restrictive. I don't want to wear it. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's like I woke up this morning and I was in America, right? It's like I love that.
Oh my god.
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it helps anybody else. It's like
I think it's sad the amount of people that have died just because they don't want anybody telling them what to do.
yeah. Well, there's been a bunch of those.
So you take your convictions to your grave, I guess.
It's crazy.
I'm gonna put that thing here closer.
Yeah. So if everybody's out there, please get your shot.
Yeah, please. It'll help all of it. The rest of us can go back to work. We can go to live music again, and everything will be so cool.
Yeah.
All my friends that are musicians, it's like they're doing is live stream crap. You know, it's like that gets old.
Hey, well, don't knock the live stream stuff, please.
I know. That's right. No, I should be tuning in tonight. Some of my friends are they got a group, and this restaurant is making it. It was like a craft pizza and cocktail place, and they survived. Just selling pizzas and stuff, and now the music is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing the live stream thing since last fall, and they've got 3 nights a week. And these are all, guys that toured nationally. They're all really heavyweights, and it's like, geez, it's all they've got,
Mm-hmm.
Randy, I was at a party. It was thrown by an old girlfriend of mine's sister.
Oh,
So
yeah?
I go over there, and what I didn't know was that it was all these people who were left over from the hippie era. So people had tie-dye t-shirts, and they were walking around in sandals, and they were just having a great time at this party. So I'm sitting there, and they're playing this music and stuff, and this guy comes walking past me, and I said, "Man, I know that dude from somewhere. I just can't place it." Anyway, this ghostwriter's done.
Oh, look at that. Nice job using positive and negative space. Also goes much faster that way. You can see.
Hey, Michael Rose, thank you for that. That's gonna look
Okay,
great.
so I'm watching this guy as he's walking around, and I kept saying, why is that guy so familiar to me? And then at one point, he walks over and he picks up this ukulele, and he starts kind of strumming on it. And then I'm like, I know that dude. That was one of the monkeys from the 60s.
Oh,
I think he was who was he? He was the guy he was one of the blonde guys or something like
One guy's
that.
name was Peter.
Peter.
Yeah, he was he was the blonde guy who I think they said his family owns the Whiteout company.
Oh yeah. I heard it. His mom invented whiteout or something.
Right.
Yeah. That's crazy. Mickey Dolenz was one of the guys. But,
Yeah.
And then who was the handsome young guy that was kind of like Paul in the Beatles? He was like the main guy.
Right.
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones, yeah. Davy Jones Locker.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny how they tried to come up with like an American version of the Beatles, and they got a British person to be the lead. I thought that was always funny.
Yep. Man, we had a lot of British stuff when we were young, especially in science fiction.
Well, they had all the. I mean, honestly, that like I think I don't know. It was like the culture and the ideas and all of that. Like I don't know. It seemed to lend itself to that sort of, I don't know. I think everybody thought it sounded fancier. So when you thought about the future, everybody was British because they had an accent. They didn't sound so guttural like us horrible Americans.
Yeah, what happened to the future, man? We were on the moon in the 60s. I was a kid reading science fiction. I thought, I'm gonna be on the moon. I'm gonna be at that moon base,
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? It's like everything went back.
This is what happened. And I was talking to somebody about this one day. Everything that we referred to as the future when we were young, when it was eventually introduced to us, it was done in such a slow pace that now we don't even pay attention to it anymore. You know, like the cell phone and all that kind of stuff, and elevators and all that kind of stuff. When we finally get it, it's just an everyday. It just ends up being an everyday thing. So it's just no big deal to anybody. Well, my biggest disappointment has been that Mars is just a boring looking place. It looks like Arizona.
I know they don't seem to.
I'm like, where's the aliens? Where's all the plants and the crazy looking rocks and all that kind of stuff? None of that is on Mars.
Where are those canals, man? It's like, what's going on?
Exactly. So now my thing is when they talk about, oh, you know, we're going to find water up there. I'm like, who cares? We're not going to be able to drink it anyway. So I don't care that there's water on Mars.
Unless there's something underneath and they're living underneath it. You know, there's a subterranean secret society or whatever, you know, still alive.
I think Jupiter, when they get past those clouds, there's going to be some crazy stuff on Jupiter.
I wondered about. Let's see. I should put some teeth that are hanging out. I mean, you got to do that. You got to have, like, you know, one tooth and then no tooth, and it's got to be, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing that you know, when people talk about the future and stuff, they all, you know, it's all supposed to be flying cars, and we're all supposed to be transporting here, and like the stuff that we've come up with is pretty amazing. Like, it's so funny to think about. Like, I remember, like you talking about phones, like you could see a science fiction movie just from like the early 2000s, and like Serenity, which is based on Firefly.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, there's a scene in it where they had to fake him holding a moving picture that was the size of about a phone or a tablet, and he's just holding it, you know, looking at this moving picture, because that technology didn't exist yet till, you know, 2006. So the first, you know, or whenever the, you know, iPhone started having, you know, pictures on, and it's just one of those things where it just didn't occur to anybody. And then, you know,
I think the other thing too is when we finally got a lot of that technology, we realized we really didn't want it. Like flying cars, they have flying cars, but nobody wants a flying car. You know, I mean, you imagine somebody being in a flying car and being drunk. That would be awful.
Be very dangerous.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. You can't start moving on to something else till you've mastered the other thing. And God knows we haven't mastered driving regular cars.
That's true.
Now you have those guys who are flying around in a disc looking like Orion from the New Gods. And
or driverless.
You know, only a few people can use that stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to drive in one of those driverless cars. You know, it's going to have an accident. I just know it. You know, and I'll be the person.
I was reading a couple of Captain America stories not too long ago, and these are the Captain American stories from the '60s and stuff when Black Panther was in Captain America, and there's a scene where these mechanical dogs come out going after Captain America. So I'm looking at the mechanical dogs. I'm like, there's a company called Boston Dynamics that makes these things now.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Dogs and things that carry things that look like real animals, and got robots that dance. I mean, they do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen that. Those are, and you know, there's some show. Maybe it was on PBS, and it was kind of like, here come the robots, you know, and it was like showing them all at once from Japan and America, and they're just, you know, it's amazing what's going on. And AI pretty soon, you know, it's like that'll be out of the bag, and then it'll be Terminator, and we'll be eliminated.
Yeah, it's so funny how that doesn't matter how many times we tell people how bad stuff can go, they still are just trying to make it. They're like, I know that artificial intelligence is probably going to kill us all, but you know what? Let's just see if we can do it anyway.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It's going to be fine. Yeah, it's like whatever. And then like Elon Musk says, it's way too late to change the rules and the laws by then.
Yeah. Right. That, you know, it's like the Jurassic Park shows us about the danger of genetics and bringing, you know, it's like, now let's go ahead, let's do some cloning, let's bring back some stuff, you know,
let's have some fun with this, you know,
yeah. Like every science fiction movie that talks about a society that's been destroyed, it's usually been destroyed by itself.
I know.
You know, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
One of the
You know,
first.
it's like how the drone thing used to be something amazing. Now anybody can go to a store and buy a drone. It's like it's just no big deal anymore.
I would say that
you know?
to my son. My son makes a living as a drone pilot. He's flying all over the United States, but he flies the big ones, like they're 6 feet, diameter, 6 propellers, and the ones that fly like 80 miles an hour, and can track a car. He's doing commercials and cinema stuff. In fact, now they've got a thing called these have been around, but it's called the Russian Arm, and they attach it to like a Porsche Cayenne, and it has one of those $50,000 red cameras or a Cineflex, and you can drive along at like 60 miles an hour and photographing other things that are moving at 60 miles an hour. But he goes, all these people they want to get a drone and think that they're a drone pilot. Like he had to pass the test that the pilots pass at the airport. All of this stuff has to do with altitude and all of the different numbers and measurements and it's a tough test, and then you got to be good at it. So but you're right. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry can buy a drone now, pretty much. Go up there and goof around with it.
Now they have arms and legs that look like real arms and legs, but they're just robots, basically.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, they'll be putting plastic flesh on all that stuff pretty soon.
Yep.
Uncle Ben's looking very interesting. Oh, I like the arrow through the air. Very nice.
Yeah. Why not? I may put a hatchet in his head too. It's like, we'll see.
I would like to hear everybody who's in the room their opinion on the art grading or the art slabbing. Whether you think it's a good idea, whether you don't think it's a good idea.
I never pay attention to that kind of stuff. That's
What
just
is-
like
For what? I'm sorry.
no attention to it.
What's the question? For what? Archiving?
Yeah, he's
Well,
asking.
Joe-
He wants the people in the chat to get their opinion on what they think of the whole thing Rob was telling us about PGX and archiving and putting encapsulating original arts like people do with slabbing comic books and stuff. So
I imagine that's the next thing, and it's like, why not?
So if anybody's still hanging out in the group and they've got some opinions on it, we don't care, negative, positive. We just want to get, we want to get a little feedback, see what everybody thinks. Like I said, Ken thought this was a great idea years ago, and when he saw that somebody was doing it, he thought it'd be really cool. So
They can DM me too. That's fine. I just want to hear some feedback on it.
Like I said, if anybody wasn't on earlier, we had Rob from PGX was on, and he was telling us about he's encapsulating art, and it's has a little label up front, just like you would for any slab comic. It doesn't come in a stringent container so tough as like a slab for a comic, so that it has a little bit of give to it, but it's definitely something you could a file, and you could run through your fingers, and it would have everything labeled and the dates and all the relevant information on it, so you wouldn't have to worry about it getting wet or damaged in water. And the plastic itself is archivable plastic, so you're not going to have to worry about any deterioration of the art or any moisture getting in there or anything. So definitely like to hear people's comments on that.
All right, Ken, I'm out.
And that's gonna be.
Joining us, buddy.
So, hey, Garrett or Larry, what's your name? What's your name again? Gary, Larry? I don't know what that. Yeah, it's like, hey, would you message me your phone number so we can have a conversation once in a while, just chat?
All right.
I mean, or even email me and I can email you mine or whatever. But either way,
All right.
yeah, because then we can stay in touch. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right.
See you, everybody.
All right, hear you.
Hey, have a good night, Larry. Thank you so much.
Give me a couple of
Thanks,
seconds
Larry.
and I'll This one I will ink this later on, but I've got pretty much. Let's see, I think I'll do this. I am going to do it just for fun. Before I say goodbye, it's Chris Warner and I used to get into trouble when we were in grade school and even middle school and stuff drawing. We would draw all of our tests and on our notes, and we would draw the Red Skull and Dr. Doom, and draw teachers with hatchets in their head and arrows, and we got in trouble plenty for drawing, but it was great. We had a great time, and drawing was always a great source of humor, and so it was always fun. I think I met Chris in first grade, and he could draw a Batman better than I could. And so it was like, wow, we're going to be friends for life. Then I discovered Marvel Comics first. And it was like, whoa, that made me cool. So.
Rangi, the one thing that I like about the encapsulation thing is the label itself.
Yeah.
I love to display my art. I have it hanging on the walls.
Yeah.
So, my wife, my kids, their friends, they come by, they see it. If it has a label on it, they can actually read and know what it is instead of me having to be there and explain to them, well, this is a cover by Butch Geist.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I like
about that.
I think it's kind of cool.
I didn't even think about it. That's having to explain it. Now, see, in my house, I have so much art, but it won't go up on the wall. There is art in my studio, but my wife's like, nope, we're not hanging that downstairs and not hanging that in the hall. It's like we're hanging other kinds of art, fine art, other kinds of art.
Well, Randy, if you want a place where that art can hit a wall and people can see it, you just let me know.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to take some of that off your hands.
I know. I think she might agree to having the Jack Davis stuff expensive framed and put up because it's kind of, it has kind of that highbrow feel to it. It covers of Time. Newsweek or whatever he did, he was like, he was pretty amazing. And she was at that show when I did that. I was like, do you have any more of this stuff? I'll trade you whatever. I got some other great artists as well, so I can't even think of right now, but that was the beginning. I thought, I really can't afford to get into this art collecting thing. I'm too busy doing comics right now, but I did get to trade for a lot of cool stuff. I got stuff by people I really liked. Except for Kirby and Ditko. I'd love to have that stuff. Dang.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? Jeez. No, that's great though. And listen, the stuff you have, you've got probably more Eric Larson SpiderMan pages than Eric has.
I know. Well, I know that tragedy because it also struck me in a very small way. I mean, it's like I was like felt so bad. He lost his dad's Golden Age comic collection in that fire in Oakland. And then, of course, all of his comics and all that, and my small loss was I was supposed to get the last cover that we worked on, the one with Dr. Doom 350, the double size.
Oh, yeah.
Issue. It was coming to me, but they accidentally sent it to him, and it burned up.
Oh, my God.
It's like, okay, well, and I think of all the pages. But you know what his attitude was? I mean, I love Eric. He's such a laid-back dude. He goes, Randy, my best work is in front of me. He goes, I'm just not going to worry about it. I can't worry about it. I got lots of good times in front of me. And he was right. 250 issues later of the Savage Dragon.
Right. Yeah.
I go, and he goes, I'm living the dream. I said, yeah, 13 years old, you created that character. You're doing him now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. I wish he'd do other stuff, though, because he is really talented. I mean, and Savage Dragon kind of, gets you pigeonholed, and it's you kind of get into a rut. Don't tell him that, but it's like, I'd love to see him do a bunch of other stuff just because he could.
Oh yeah, I was lucky enough. Ken was lucky enough to get in touch with him and brought him to a little private Zoom group we have, and we got to talk with him about stuff. And I mean, it seems like that if he got asked to do a few things, he'd be more than happy to do them. So
I know he kind of got pushed aside, but probably because of the image thing. Rubbed all these Marvel guys the wrong way. But he had started to do some fill-ins on different things, and it was one thing he got to do I didn't get to do is he got to ink Steve Ditko. And when Ditko was doing those few issues of Marvel Presents or whatever characters he was doing, maybe it was an issue of that I can't even remember the name of the character. It was some goofy character he created. But I got to ink Don Heck on a Peregrine thing and a Hercules thing, and I got to ink a couple other guys from that era before they passed away. So I kept all those pages. Those are really cool.
Oh yeah.
Good to have. Gene Colan. I inked a bunch of Gene Colan covers.
Oh, nice.
So that was really cool. That was fun. I had to get my brush out for that one. All right, so here's what I got, and I may add some more goop to it, but whoever is the guy is, here's okay.
Ari, that looks pretty good.
There's the hatchet in the head. He's got the arrow through.
Sorry.
Got a hole through his head. He's got teeth missing. He has an eyeball out of the socket. I'll rip up the shirt a little bit and I'll ink it up, and this will go out with the rest of them. But I think you get the idea.
Sure.
All right.
That's awesome. Hey, listen, it fell into your category. You were nice enough to do it, and everybody got a little something they wanted out of that one, so that's good. So wait, Avi found the loophole. Way to go.
There I am with Stan again. Stan just keeps popping up. I don't know how that is.
Yeah. Eugene, sorry, we are ending the live claims, buddy, but I think that Randy still has some spots on his list, doesn't he, Ken?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I do. I've got quite a few openings still.
Yeah, so reach out.
Get on the VIP list.
Yeah, reach out to Ken if anybody wants anything from Randy, and he still has a couple spots left on his. And if you want a headshot, you can get a headshot, or you can get something bigger because with the other commissions, he's doing bigger stuff. So
yeah, you can look at my price list and all that stuff. You can All right. Well, that sounds good. I'm gonna call it, and thank you for having me on the show, and maybe we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it's different every time you do it.
It is.
And Eugene Kim, I know you? Like, didn't I do a commission for you? Could be. And it's like I could have sworn I did one for him, like at Phoenix or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, so it was fun, and it worked. I got the setup, and I think I'll improve on it between now and the next time. So
sure.
Thanks for being patient. And
this is my first time. We got it worked out.
This is my first time doing this, so hey, whatever. All right, guys.
It worked out great. Hey, thank you so much for coming, and everybody, thanks for coming, and thanks to everybody. Thanks to Larry for showing up, and certainly thanks to Randy for coming in and doing this. And I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you next week. We've got who's next week, Ken?
Next week, Jane Pasco.
Jane Pasco, that's right. James Pasco, yes. So come visit us, and remember, please get your shot and stay safe. Have a good night, everybody.
Reverse recreation. Yes, I remember Eugene. Okay. Yeah, he's for real. Yep. Okay, I'll see you soon. Talk to you later, and you can always email me too. Take care.
Take care.